they could go with that too. You know, if you're ISIS,
great point,
or Osama bin Laden and you're running around our country, we should be able to pick you up just on the basis that your group is a foreign terrorist organization and ship you out right away.
Yeah, great point. I understand that you recently returned from a visit to the southern border. I've been there many, many times. In fact, on every sector all across our southern border.
Nice.
Do you have, from your experience, do you have any insights that you can provide from your trip?
Sure. I went to the Juarez, El Paso area. That's the El Paso sector on the U.S. side, and I've been going down there for 4 years now. Every time I've ever gone there, it was just absolute chaos, manic upheaval of thousands of immigrants just pouring in over the wire and fighting to get in, and battles with Texas DPS, et cetera. This time it was all quiet on the southern front. They might get 30 to 60 a day coming through, trying to run through that sector that they catch, and all 30 to 60 of them are detained and deported immediately. Nobody is being released, and that's why they stop coming, because nobody wants to spend a whole bunch of money on smuggling fees to end up deported and detained. That's not the way it's that they want their money to be used. So the result is that the numbers are really, really down to historic numbers. I interviewed a lot of immigrants on the Mexican side in Juarez, and they are keenly aware that if they try, there are two fates that might await them. One is that, sorry, I got a dog. One is that the Americans will detain and deport you to your home country, all the way to your home country, unless you're a Mexican citizen, in which case they'll just put you over the border. Or they'll refer you to prosecution for illegal entry, or multiple illegal entries. And the people on the Juarez side were extremely aware that their money was not going to pay off, or that they could end up in federal prison. We are putting people in federal prison right now for this. So it's an incredibly potent disincentive. They don't want to come.
Absolutely.
One last thing, if I have a second, is the smugglers.
That's about all you have.
Okay, thank you.
Todd Bensman, Senior National Security Fellow at the Center for Immigration Studies, thank you so much. Fantastic conversation. I appreciate your insight so much. All right, friends, that wraps up this edition of Washington Watch. I want to thank you for joining us and for tuning in to today's edition. Make sure you download the Stand Firm app and get the God in Government course. Have a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Washington Watch.
Washington Watch with Tony Perkins is brought to you by Family Research Council and is entirely listener-supported. Portions of the show discussing candidates are brought to you by Family Research Council Action. For more information on anything you heard today, or to find out how you can partner with us in our ongoing efforts to promote faith, family, and freedom, visit TonyPerkins.com.
Want to be part of something impactful? Rogue Valley Habitat's first ever golf tournament is teeing off at Centennial Golf Course April 25th, and the smartest businesses in Southern Oregon are jumping in. Sponsorship packages from $500 to $5,000 include course signage, event promotions, and networking opportunities. Top sponsors receive tournament team entry. Ready to be a game changer? Call Tyler Hunter at 541-261-3520 today. Rogue Valley Habitat, building community one home at a time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your generous giving to the Dove.
We as a staff are so grateful you make it possible for us to broadcast hope.
All across the Dove TV and radio network.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your support is touching and changing many lives.
And bringing much needed news and information
from a Christian worldview.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for believing in, praying for, and supporting the Dove.
Hey, it's your old car here. Remember me? Remember us? You barely even turn me on anymore. It's clear you don't need me, but that's perfectly fine, my friend, because you can choose to give this old car new purpose and donate. There are incredible nonprofits out there that accept cars just like me. So call or donate online. Donating a vehicle is easy, the pickup is free, and your gift is tax deductible.
What kind of life are you living? You want to be a happy person? Don't chase happiness. Chase after God. Come to God and He will clean your life up. You just come as you are.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Now here's this couple who says, we don't need that kind of a covenant so that we can escape and get out of this. And it is an unholy relationship. Two men together cannot be one flesh. Two women together in a sexual relationship cannot be one flesh. It is the man and it is the woman brought together by God, as indicated here in this passage of Scripture, that become one flesh. And that means that their relationship is not just physical, but metaphysical. In fact, you know that the word one that is used there is the word when God speaks about being one, for the oneness of the Trinity.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
You're watching the Dove TV, encouraging and informative for Yuba City and Northern California. Seen on KYUB 15, KKPM 28, and these Dove TV affiliates.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good morning, too.
Good morning.
Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove. We are 2 days away from spring.
No kidding. Yeah, that's
Spring will spring Thursday.
We'll do some winter skiing in the spring.
Well, wait till we show you some stuff later on. Woo. Anyway, good morning. Happy Tuesday to you. That is Jerry Billman. That's all you need to know.
Good morning.
His opinion you can take to the bank.
No, you can't cash it in, you can't deposit, you can't do anything. But you can take it there.
You can take it to the bank and let me know if they let you in.
Good luck.
Anyway, good morning to you. A lot going on in the news. As always, we've got a lot to talk about. The storm and the high water seems to be receding across the area. But boy, we are full in a lot of areas. It's going to take a while for the rivers to turn back to green instead of mud.
Yeah, well, you know, you've had really serious weather when the top of like 80% of my conversation is, how's the bridge?
Yeah,
how's the bridge?
Yeah.
How's the bridge?
Yeah.
Well, it's above water right now.
Well.
And it's still there.
Oh, well, praise hallelujah.
Yeah.
Did you drive across it this
I
morning?
did. It was tough, too, because all the footing, all the roadway's been washed off the concrete footings, and so I got to get a guy up there with 3/4 minus and fill it in and do all the. In the meantime, it's to get on and to get off.
Okay,
and
it's only money.
Yeah.
Thank you. Money can't.
Yeah. Well, I see it flying away.
There you go. All right. Good morning to you. Well, anything special today?
Well, it is National Supreme Sacrifice Day, honoring those who have made tremendous sacrifices for the sake and the good of others, as well as those who sacrifice their lives every day for us. And of course, we think of those in uniform right away, both in the defense of our country, in the military, and as well as law enforcement. So our hats off to you. But this is for everyone who has stepped in and given the supreme sacrifice.
Wow.
Also, National Ag Day. And as you have pointed out so many times, important for people to know where their food comes from.
Well, it didn't come from Safeway.
It didn't.
Their food came from the ground somewhere.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you know what? People with an agriculture background, they learn a lot of the basics of life on the farm. Yeah. A lot of us learned how to drive on the farm, in the fields, driving trucks. I remember,
Purposely getting stuck.
Big old 4 on the floor.
Yeah.
I remember driving a grain truck to my dad's, to the combine, and I was looking between the steering wheel and the dashboard, because this is where I could see.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's how I got out there. Didn't tear the boom off that combine or anything, but.
You haven't lived until you took a tractor with a big wheel in the back, those old Fords,
yes,
and you did this with it.
Oh, then I haven't lived.
And
Thank you.
Then it slams down like that.
Well, the very first thing I ever drove was a tractor, and it was because my dad could set the throttle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And old Ford on the side there.
I still ran it into a snowbank.
Yeah.
Stopped it.
I flipped my dad's Jeep.
No way!
Right upside down.
Ag kid stories. Enjoy your Ag Day. It's also, and I love this, and this kind of goes in with Ag Day, but it's National Biodiesel Day, commemorating the birthday of Rudolf Diesel. And a few that continue to gain ground interest across the country and around the world because Rudolf Diesel invented the diesel engine and unveiled it at the World's Fair in 1900. The engine was originally designed to run only on peanut oil. And our diesel was a big believer in the role of plants, the oils that could play in fueling America. He said, the use of vegetable oils for engine fuels may seem insignificant today, but such oils may become, in the course of time, as important as petroleum and the coal tar products of the present time. And it's hard to find diesel these days that doesn't have some bio in it.
Yeah. It's kind of like, excuse me, finding gasoline that doesn't have ethanol in it.
Ethanol. Yeah, you got to buy clear gas and pay a lot more for it to get it without.
You do, but if you have anything with a carburetor, if you put the non-ethanol fuel in it, it'll run much better.
Yeah, and I have a couple vehicles that run on diesel. One of them is a low-riding sedan that looks nothing like anything that should run on diesel. And I can't tell you how many times I've had gas. Well, in the old days when they pumped for it, well, they still do, but I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
They come out and they say, "You sure you want diesel in this?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. Put it in. I've even had people come up to me from other cars and say, "You know, you're putting diesel in your car."
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let me ask you a very, very controversial question.
Oh, great. Yeah.
You ready?
I'm ready.
What's more pollutant, gas or diesel?
Well, that's a good question.
I don't know the answer to
I
that.
don't know the answer to it either. I'm running diesel exhaust fluid in one rig, and the other one doesn't.
Well, you're the only guy I know that fills up at McDonald's.
Yeah, and I'm the one that has dogs chasing me down the street. That's the way it works. But, I don't know. That's a good question, Perry.
I don't know that. I just thought I'd ask.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah, please.
It's also National, we have food, Sloppy Joe Day.
Ooh.
One of America's favorite hot sandwiches. Its base ingredient is often ground beef. However, others use turkey and buffalo too, and other elements. Pork, yeah. Give it its flavor though. Onions, tomato sauce, brown sugar, cola, or even maple syrup to sweeten it, and seasonings to spice it. And of course, any special ingredients that families may add over the years. All of it is served up on a hamburger bun or roll, and is it ever sloppy? Be sure to grab more than one napkin. And it all, look at that. It all looks good. I can't remember the last time I had a Sloppy Joe.
Well, I like them, but I don't like them with the top bun.
You want an open-faced Sloppy Joe?
Yes.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Just too much bread for you? Or
Yes,
what? Yeah,
too
okay.
much bread. And the other thing is that then you just eat it with a fork and knife.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can't disagree with that. And then you take that.
One of the few times I use utensils.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay. If you're doing an open-faced Sloppy Joe, do you take the top bun, flip it over next to it, and make two open-faced Sloppy Joes?
See,
huh?
See, I don't want to waste anything.
Well, why would you? Yeah, you're a farm kid. It's Ag Day.
Thought I'd ask.
Also, Lacey Oatmeal Cookie Day, celebrating a delicate cookie made from oats. Some people may refer to this day as National Oatmeal Cookie Day, but it's not. That's celebrated on April 30th. The difference between the two is that Lacey oatmeal cookies are wafer thin and typically accompany a scoop of ice cream or sorbet.
Oh, okay. And they're kind of crunchy.
Yeah, looks like it. Yeah, they look good. Good carrier for ice cream.
Oh gosh, yes.
Why not?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, we got a full meal: Sloppy Joes and Lacey cookies.
Well, speaking of sloppy, he does the weather here.
We'll see a small break in active weather systems that are approaching our region. So today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, showers likely, then mostly cloudy with daytime high temperatures near 51 for Vancouver, Portland, Wilsonville, and McMinnville with lows in the upper 30s. Continuing down the Willamette Valley with showers, then mostly cloudy and daytime highs in the low 50s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene with a southwest wind around 6 miles per hour. A chance of snow showers this morning across central Oregon, then partly sunny with daytime highs near 46 in Prineville, 42 in Bend, and near 39 in Sun River. Over in Boise, Idaho, mostly sunny and breezy with a high near 47. Along the Oregon coast, showers with the possibility of thunderstorms in some locations and daytime high temperatures near 53 in Coos Bay and low 50s for Port Orford, Brookings, and Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, a chance of rain and snow, then clearing to partly sunny and near 51 in Grants Pass. Partly sunny for Medford with a high near 49, Ashland near 47, and Klamath Falls near 42 with a light west wind. Into northern California, mostly sunny with a high near 45 in Wairika. Early patchy frost, then sunny with highs near 59 in Redding and 60 in Chico. Sunny in Sacramento with a high near 61. In the Bay Area, early patchy frost before 9 a.m., then sunny and near 61 in Santa Rosa and Napa with lows in the mid-30s. Sunny and breezy in San Francisco with a high near 59. And today in San Jose, sunny and 62. It's a look at your Tuesday weather on the Dove.
There it is.
Yeah.
That's Jerry's second office.
Yeah, one where I'm not spending enough time. But look at the fresh snow. The trees look like they were freshly flocked.
Looks like Christmas.
It looks like Christmas. Look at the tracks in the snow. There's a lot of fresh snow. And some news coming up on this as well.
Yeah, we got some news for you.
I can't wait. Well, in the meantime, we have Pastor Greg Laurie, and he explains what it is to be sealed by the Holy Spirit.
Again, as part of the work of conversion, the Holy Spirit seals us. This is based on Ephesians 1, 13 to 14. Listen, it says, in him you trusted, after you heard the word of truth, the gospel of your salvation, in whom you have believed, you were sealed with the Holy Spirit of promise, who is a deposit guaranteeing our inheritance until the redemption of those who are God's possession, to the praise of his glory. Now, what does this mean, to be sealed by the Spirit? Well, back in these days, when goods would be shipped from one place to another, they would be stamped with a wax seal and imprinted with a signet ring bearing a unique mark of ownership. Same with an important document. That might be from a king, for instance. It would be sealed in wax and imprinted with the royal seal, and no one would dare open it unless it were the person it was addressed to. So in the same way the devil comes, he says, I'm going to wreak havoc in this life. I'm going to ruin this person. I'm going to, wait. Is that an ID tag? Property of the Lord Jesus Christ. And he backs off. I've been sealed with a Holy Spirit of promise.
Good stuff. Greg Laurie out there preaching away.
Yeah.
All right, good morning to you. 10 minutes past the hour to take a look at some of the top stories on this Tuesday morning. And there's some interesting ones, to say the least. Let me see if I got my notes mixed up. I know that's hard to believe.
You don't know what's behind these screens here.
All right, the first one is the ceasefire is off in Israel.
Yeah.
They went ahead and struck yesterday. Israel ordered airstrikes into Gaza. And as a result of the ceasefire breaking off and the Hamas not releasing any hostages, and it was an all-out attack. 413 people were killed in yesterday's attack, including women and children. Now, this is a change to Israel's front. They're just saying, you said you were going to do this and you didn't. Boom. And apparently it was okayed through the White House. And they went after it. This is a 17-month-old war, and I think what the world is beginning to see now, that no matter what Hamas says, they don't do.
They don't do, right.
So it's sad. War is horrible. For the innocent, it's the worst nightmare you can possibly imagine for the innocent. But anyway, they ordered airstrikes last night, and boy, they went at it hard. So we'll see what happens and what this results in. So you think about this. Hamas got hit, and the Houthis got hit.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Those are big, big statements coming down. All right, now the second story is an interesting one, and that is, are you ready for this? AutoPen. Who ever heard of AutoPen?
Nobody until this last president vacated the White House, and then we find out somebody was using the AutoPen, but we don't know who, right?
Here's the problem with AutoPen. So the AutoPen, for those who are just kind of tuning into this, apparently there's a procedure where the president's signature can be automatically applied to a document without him physically signing it.
Right.
The problem with that is, how do we know he okayed it?
Well, we don't, and he may not know either.
So yesterday, President Trump on social media posted a statement and said, well, the pardons of January 6th have to be void and vacated because there's no evidence that the president okayed those releases, because there's no evidence that he gave the okay for the auto pen to be used.
Isn't this amazing? Something that we've never seen before. Preemptive pardons signed by an auto pen.
Okay, let me go to the press secretary, Levitt, and she'll explain a few things here, but watch this.
Okay.
She was
The
asked
president was begging the question that I think a lot of journalists in this room should be asking about whether or not the former president of the United States, who I think we can all finally agree was cognitively impaired. I know it took people some time to finally admit that, but we all know that to be true, as evidenced by his disastrous debate performance against President Trump during the campaign. I digress on that. But the president was raising the point that, did the president even know about these pardons? Was his legal signature used without his consent or knowledge? And that's not just the president or me raising those questions, Caitlin. According to the New York Post, there are Biden officials from the previous White House who raised those questions and wondered if the president was even consulted about his legally binding signature being signed onto documents. And so I think it's a question that everybody in this room should be looking into, because certainly that would propose perhaps criminal or illegal behavior if staff members were signing the President of the United States autograph without his consent.
Is on the record.
Okay, two things here. One thing that could make this story stick is a whistleblower.
Yeah, yeah.
And if a whistleblower comes out and said, we did this and the president didn't know anything about it, okay, so that kind of pretty much would end the deal. Secondly, how do you prove that the president okayed this?
Yeah, I don't think you can.
So therefore, is it really official if there is nothing that proves that the president gave his okay to this?
Yeah.
Does he get a sheet of just initialing things that were auto-penned?
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know.
So I think what you have here is a real can of worms. Because if this was done, and you can't prove that the president okayed it,
right,
but you're just saying that he did, but you cannot absolutely, unequivocally prove that he okayed this, it's really a problem.
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But what if a whistleblower comes out?
Yeah, well, I think that it would take something like that. In the meantime, the current president, Donald Trump, has said that these are null and void. Are they, in fact, null and void, or do we have a Obama, district judge ready to step in and say, yes, this is official and these people have pardons? Also, Adam Schiff has weighed in on this. Yeah, because, of course, it's the January 6th committee pardons that he has declared null and void. And he said, we are proud of our work on the January 6th committee. We will not be intimidated.
I'm glad he used the word pride.
Yeah, yes, he did. Yeah.
It precedes the fall.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, listen, I just, with all due respect, I got to be careful here because I don't have anything nice to say about Adam Schiff.
Well,
but the point is that this is, it's possible. It's really possible that they can unwind this.
Yeah.
And this would be historic. And I think there has to be some kind of, if I can use the term legislation, I don't like a lot of laws, but on the other hand, there has to be something that authenticates the president's auto pen.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't even know such a thing existed.
No. Well, especially for the President of the United States. Now, you know what? We are used to, we're in an age where we sign documents online these days, which is, I think, a form of auto pen. So, but I don't know how that really works. But when it comes to the official business of the United States of America, with the president's signature required on whether it be an executive order or bills, that have been passed through Congress, you would think that you need the real deal, wouldn't you?
Well, okay, so let me, yes, the answer is yes. Okay, so here comes President Trump, who's made signing documents a media event.
It's true, and we all know that signature, don't we?
Yeah. I mean, he started during the inauguration all the way up through, and he's still doing it. So I don't know. You would think that as something as important as immunity, that there would be a signature to follow this. And besides, do you really want your pardon to be signed by a machine?
Oh, yeah, right. Well, again, it just brings
What
up...
about all the medals of honor that he gave inside the
true.
East Room?
True.
Did he sign all of those? Which is an indication, folks, there's another problem here. He was worse than anybody possibly could imagine.
Yeah.
If he couldn't write his name, they said, now I don't know if it's true, the only thing that he signed during his presidency was his withdrawal from the race.
Right. Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right, the other story that popped up is they're coming home. They're going to splash down this afternoon.
How about that?
Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams have been stuck in space since June of 24. The president said, get them home.
Yeah.
So Wilmore and Williams are returning home in SpaceX capsule with fellow NASA astronaut Nick Hague and Russian astronaut Alexander. Something, can't pronounce that Russian name. I need Polina.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, they're expected to splash down in Florida around 6 o'clock this evening, Florida time.
Yeah. Yep.
Can you believe this?
I bet they'll be happy to get home.
Oh, my stars. Can you imagine?
Oh, man. Yeah.
So,
and what's in store for Starliner, by the way, through all of this? Because they're still a go as one of the shuttle services back and forth to the International Space Station.
Well, I don't know. Can they get out of that contract?
I don't know.
So, President Trump, can he say, gosh, can you imagine the controversy?
Oh, no, you can't do that.
Can you imagine the controversy? He says no to Boeing and yes to SpaceX.
Elon, right.
Oh, gosh.
That wouldn't work.
Oh, man. Talk about auto pen.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
All right, so that's some of the stories. And we got some backyard bragging and hoping and celebrating and yahooing when we get back.
From the center of my soul to the edge of the universe, creation is crying out, believe it or not, that there is a God.
Get ready for fun at Rogue Ski Shop Think Snow Sale. Boulder Gear clothing now 20% off. Goggles, adults starting at $29, kids starting at $26. All Scott gloves 20% off. If you ski or ride, it's time to slide into Rogue Ski Shop Medford.
It's hard for anyone to resist a great combo. So talk to State Farm agent Rory Wold in Medford and save hundreds by combining your auto and homeowner's insurance. After all, these savings are too good to pass up. Get to a better state.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Burgers, salads, sandwiches, barbecue platters, sides, and more. Smoked, grilled, and served to perfection. Sweet Tea Express. Breakfast, burgers, and barbecue.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
If you are tired, that means I get fed up. I am tired of living the way I'm living. If you're tired from carrying heavy loads, if you're not tired of trying to solve all the problems by yourself, Jesus can't help you. So let me ask you, are you tired? Are you tired of running on empty? Are you fed up with the emptiness that you've been feeling in your life? And are you willing to do something about it? As I said, we don't change until we feel the heat. You have to come some point in your life where you go, I have had enough. I refuse to live this way any longer.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
All right, welcome back. Happy Tuesday to you. And, first of all, a couple of things going on here, and that is the Oregon colleges and universities are not wavering amid the federal attacks on DEI. Our colleges in our state said, Sorry, Prez, we're going our own way.
Wow.
And I don't know where this is going to lead or go, but the universities in some parts of the country are responding to the Fed DEI crackdown. But Eastern Oregon University's Center for Strategic Equity Initiatives said no, along with all the other universities and colleges in the state so far, has told the president to take a hike. Now, I don't know where this is going to end up. But just to let you know that the university and higher ed in our state said no to eliminating DEI. I have a suggestion for them. It's pretty simple.
What?
Just reform your program.
How?
Well, if you take the sex part of it out and just deal with the equity of maybe ethnicity.
Okay, all right.
Just reform the program.
All right.
You got rid of the part that's controversial, and you're still aiding students who want to get an education. But when they took all of the transgender and LGBTQ stuff and they made it equal with, they made it a civic right as being a male or female, then it became a discrimination thing, which in itself is not. That's the controversy. Set that aside and still provide education for any other ethnic group. Reform the program, but right now you're setting yourself up to lose some funding.
I would think so. And would you expect that to follow?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time.
I think so.
All right, Mount Ashland. Dun, 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 dun. Do you have those pictures, guys? Let's throw that up there.
Oh, there's the bowl.
There's the bowl. There's Mount Ashland. What a beautiful sight.
That is, I'll tell you what, there's nothing like standing on the lip there to the right and looking down. Your adrenaline starts flowing before you start skiing.
We have one of the most beautiful ski areas right here in our backyard.
This is great footage.
Yeah, it really is.
Wow. So we got bonus days.
Well, we did. Yep, that's it. Thanks for that. You did it.
Oh,
Mount Ashland is extending the 24-25 ski season with 2 bonus weeks in April.
Bonus weekends, I should say.
Yes, remaining open the 19th and the 20th and the 26th and the 27th.
That's right. I honestly don't remember skiing that late. I've skied on the 22nd before. That's my birthday, and so we've celebrated up there before.
That was a hit, folks.
So if somebody's missing, you'll know where I am. Anyway, but it's been years since we did that. So I don't know how this works with forestry, because we know that they're on a permit with the U.S. Forestry Department, and they kind of oversee the time slots that are open. So I'm not sure how this works, but I'm glad they got it, because we've really had quite a robust ski season.
I think that's it.
But Mount Ashland has suffered some off days because of it.
Well, I don't know what the criteria is for making that decision.
Yeah.
But it's given 2 extra weekends. So, by the way, it's 18 degrees up there. Woohoo! In the last 24 hours, 18 inches. In the last 7 days, 48 inches, on top of already a great base. I can't help but think that that is part of the equation. And the forestry has to think about, gee, if we continue to let skiing pack that snow down, it improves the runoff.
That's a great point. That really is.
And when you have that much, it's got to improve the runoff. So
and I wonder, with all that fresh snow on the mountain, who is going to be at work on Thursday morning? I can't figure this out.
You remind me of me. So I keep going to the store with one thing in mind.
And that is?
To get seedless grapes. And then I come home with Oreos.
That's good.
So, you're wondering who's going to be at work Thursday?
Yes, yeah. Gosh. It should be interesting. We'll be getting parking lot full notices very early on a Thursday of all days. But anyway, moving on to more serious things.
By the way, 70-degree weather next week. So,
yeah. Well, in fact, let's take a look. What's coming our way?
Let's do that.
Yeah.
There it is. You can see the satellite image for those watching on the Dove radio. It's clearing up. We don't expect anything today. Maybe some rain Wednesday, Thursday, a little bit. As these systems, if you look carefully at that satellite image, There it is, right at the state line. Some turns and go south, some turns and go north.
Right, and we should get some more rain starting tomorrow. At least 50% chance tomorrow and mid-50s, and then Thursday, Friday, we should see some more precipitation, then clearing for the weekend. But brace yourself, as you already warned us, early next week, Monday, sunshine and 73, partly sunny on Tuesday and 74, bumping up into the mid-70s.
Yeah.
Woo! Anyway, it's time. It will be officially spring, right?
Thursday.
Thursday. Okay. All right. Well, State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce joined Fox Business and discussed U.S. strikes on Houthi militant sites.
We've heard certainly from the Secretary of Defense and the President and the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, on the fact that the Houthis are pirates. They are not a recognized regime. They are not a recognized government. They are effectively holding Yemen hostage, and that's what they've been doing with the waterway there, is attacking shipping, attacking our ships over 100 times. It's been a kind of a constant death by 1,000 cuts, if you will. And people are wondering, it's like, finally, we're striking back. This has been going on for a very long time. The previous administration has done pinprick responses when the Houthis have attacked. But this is the first time that there is a real, genuine attack that is meant to have this stop. It affects the entire world, that shipping framework, where countries have had to go all the way around Africa in order to get into where it is they need to really be moving. And this is unacceptable in the civilized world. And that's what the goal is. It is not a tit for tat. This is a dynamic that is about making sure, like the rest of what the Trump agenda is, and certainly what Secretary Rubio is doing, which is to make the world safer and stronger and more prosperous, but also reasonable. These are pirates controlling a section of the world that affects all of us, and it's going to end, and we're going to help make it end.
That whole area has just notched it up by 5 to 10 between the ceasefire being off and us striking at the Houthis. It's really ramped up.
Well, it's interesting that she categorized them as nothing more than pirates. Yeah, I think I never thought of it that way, but you come to think about what they've been doing is primarily pirating the shipping lane.
Right.
So that's good stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's good to hear that language so we better understand exactly who they are. We think there's some national group or something.
Yeah, they're not as organized as Hezbollah or the Hamas. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, they're organized. But here's the question. Where are they getting their military armament to do what they do?
Iran.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good morning to you. I got Jerry's seatbelt really tight. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Rise Direct Primary Care. Imagine a healthcare experience where you're known by name, cared for like family, and treated with compassion. How is that possible? With an affordable, flat monthly membership, you receive unlimited primary care and minor urgent care visits. No insurance needed. At Rise Direct Primary Care, we offer a friendly, affordable healthcare experience where you get a whole hour with your provider. Located in Central Medford and accessible by phone or text, we can typically get you in the same or next day. We prescribe urgent care medications directly from our office, saving you a trip and wait time at the pharmacy when you'd rather be at home getting better. Personalized medical care with a human touch. Rise Direct Primary Care is all about healing the sick with compassion and keeping the healthy healthy. Rise Direct Primary Care. We're here for you. Visit risehealthdpc.com or call or text us 541-827-8603. 541-827-8603.
If you enjoy the Dove TV, tell a friend or family member. If they can't receive a signal, the Dove streams worldwide on Roku and Apple TV, plus online at thedove.us. Help encourage someone who needs hope. Spread the word about the Dove TV.
Life is complicated enough. Why worry about what to do with your extra car? Skip the costs of maintaining it, storing it, insuring it, or renewing registration. Car repairs? Forget about it. Here's one easy solution to your car problem. Donate it to our station. It's fast, free, tax deductible, and if you donate, you're going to feel incredible knowing you're supporting quality programming. Interested? Just call this toll-free number or donate online. Thank you.
Welcome back. Half past the hour on this Tuesday. And, well, I tell you what, the Middle East got pretty hot and heavy yesterday with the ceasefire ending up in the result of air attacks into Gaza against Hamas. So let's check in with CBN Newswatch and get caught up.
This is CBN Newswatch.
I want to begin this busy Tuesday in the Middle East, where the ceasefire between Hamas and Israel has come to an end as Israeli warplanes begin pounding Hamas targets inside Gaza early today. The renewed fighting comes after Hamas refused to extend the ceasefire deal. CBN Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell brings us the story now. He's reporting from Jerusalem.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu gave the order overnight, stating the aim is to achieve the war's objectives, including the release of all of our hostages, both the living and the fallen. The cabinet approved the decision after Hamas repeatedly refused to release the hostages and rejected proposals presented by President Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, and other mediators.
What we have seen them do is prepare for a terror attack against our troops in Gaza, but more importantly, against our civilians in the communities outside of Gaza and the Western Negev. What we did is we took a preemptive strike on those terrorists, specifically those commanders, and on terror targets, removing those threats, and basically saying we will not accept this.
President Trump was informed of the plan beforehand.
The Trump administration and the White House were consulted by the Israelis on their attacks in Gaza tonight. And as President Trump has made it clear, Hamas, the Houthis, Iran, all those who seek to terrorize not just Israel, but also the United States of America, will see a price to pay.
Israel's new chief of staff, Eyal Zamir, oversaw the operations alongside the head of the Shin Bet, Ronen Bar. Earlier in the week, Netanyahu announced he plans to fire Bar, the head of the nation's most powerful intelligence agency, over internal disagreements. That would be unprecedented in Israel's history. The attacks now dramatically change the situation between Israel and Hamas after several weeks of ceasefire and negotiations. The two sides' bottom line demands are contradictory. Israel insists the war can't permanently end till Hamas frees the hostages, disarms, and gives up governing Gaza. Hamas refuses to lay its arms and give up power. It says it won't release the hostages till Israel ends the war and withdraws its troops. Hamas is now issuing threats against the captives, saying in a statement that ending the ceasefire is, quote, exposing the hostages in Gaza to an unknown fate. However, the hostages are Hamas's only real bargaining chip, and if they're all killed, there'll be nothing left to keep the IDF from going all out to destroy the terror group. All this comes as the U.S. continues strikes at Houthi targets in Yemen to end their attacks on shipping in the region.
Today, the operation continues, and it will continue in the coming days until we achieve the president's objectives.
President Trump is now giving Iran, the Houthis' main sponsor, a tough warning. He posted on Truth Social, every shot fired by the Houthis will be looked upon from this point forward as being a shot being fired from the weapons and leadership of Iran. And Iran will be held responsible and suffer the consequences, and those consequences will be dire.
Continue our coverage now with Chris in Israel. Chris, are these strikes intended to be pressure tactics to get Hamas to release the hostages? And will Israel keep striking Hamas until they either agree to a hostage release deal or Israel basically wipes out Hamas?
Well, first of all, Ephraim, I think part of this is an attempt to stop that imminent attack that the IDF spokesman talked about, that Hamas was preparing. We asked him about a ground operation and will this actually increase. He told us that all options are on the table and they're committed to the goals of the war, which would be freeing all the hostages and then dismantling Hamas, make sure they can never carry out another October 7th. And for Israel, unless they change their goals, this is a fight to the finish. They want to eliminate Hamas which they believe this is an existential war. And they said also it's been reported that these airstrikes didn't pose a threat to the hostages' safety, but they did target Hamas's ability to govern. But to your question, it does put pressure on Hamas to release more of the hostages, and that certainly was part of the reasoning for the attack last night against Hamas in the Gaza Strip.
Could Israel step up its attacks and go beyond Gaza?
Well, actually, in one sense, Ephraim, they're already going beyond Gaza. One thing that we've noted before is that they're actually hitting targets in Syria. They consider the Islamist regime there a threat, and they don't want the Assad regime's weapons, anything from military infrastructure to chemical weapons, being used in the future against Israel. The next huge question really is going to be Iran. The U.S. position is becoming increasingly clear with the attack on the Houthis, and the signal is don't support the enemies of the U.S. And so the combination of what the Trump administration is doing in Yemen and what Israel is doing in Gaza really sends a strong message that Israel and the U.S. are both prepared to go beyond Gaza, whether it includes Syria. And the big question is it going to include Iran itself?
Wow. Well, hold on. A lot more to be reporting on there as that unfolds continually. Yeah. All right, let's check out the weather with him.
We'll see a small break in active weather systems that are approaching our region. So today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, showers likely, then mostly cloudy with daytime high temperatures near 51 for Vancouver, Portland, Wilsonville, and McMinnville with lows in the upper 30s. Continuing down the Willamette Valley with showers, then mostly cloudy and daytime highs in the low 50s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene with a southwest wind around 6 miles per hour. A chance of snow showers this morning across central Oregon, then partly sunny with daytime highs near 46 in Prineville, 42 in Bend, and near 39 in Sun River. Over in Boise, Idaho, mostly sunny and breezy with a high near 47. Along the Oregon coast, showers with the possibility of thunderstorms in some locations and daytime high temperatures near 53 in Coos Bay and low 50s for Port Orford, Brookings, and Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, a chance of rain and snow, then clearing to partly sunny and near 51 in Grants Pass, partly sunny for Medford with a high near 49, Ashland near 47, and Klamath Falls near 42 with a light west wind. Into northern California, mostly sunny with a high near 45 in Wairika, early patchy frost, then sunny with highs near 59 in Redding and 60 in Chico, sunny in Sacramento with a high near 61. In the Bay Area, early patchy frost before 9 a.m., then sunny and near 61 in Santa Rosa and Napa with lows in the mid-30s, sunny and breezy in San Francisco with a high near 59, and today in San Jose, sunny and 62. It's a look at your Tuesday weather on the Dove.
Okay, and there's a beautiful shot of Mount Ashland this morning. It just looks like Christmas up there. And look, the trees are just packed with snow.
Yeah.
And look how high up the snow is on the trunk of the tree.
Yeah. Oh, man.
18 inches in the last 24 hours.
Yep.
That's a lot of snow.
You would never know we had a dry January, would you?
Nope.
It was a tough January, but boy, did we get it in abundance ever since.
There you go.
My goodness. All right. Well, he's one of the most iconic of all TV commercial characters, and it was on this day in history that the Pillsbury Doughboy was born. On March 18, 1965, a copywriter named Rudy Perez had an idea while sitting at his kitchen table. What if a ball of dough came to life? Inspired by a fresh Pillsbury dough can popping open, he imagined a cheerful, giggling character, soft, friendly, and full of warmth. That vision became Poppin' Fresh, the Pillsbury Doughboy. Poppin' Fresh was given a scarf, a chef's hat, and 2 big blue eyes, and brought to life by stop-motion animation. The Doughboy made his debut in a TV commercial in November of 1965, where he'd pop out of a can, say hello, and giggle when poked in the belly. Audiences fell in love, and over the decades, he became a cultural icon, appearing in over 600 ads, as well as merchandise, and even appearing in parodies. He's one of the most used characters in the history of TV commercials. Though his look evolved, his charm never faded. Today, the Pillsbury Doughboy remains a symbol of home-baked joy, proving that a simple giggle can last for generations. We had to have the tummy poke and the giggle.
I keep looking for that guy to pop out every time.
And it's interesting too, because I think we've all used their products before, and it's one of the most satisfying things to open is when you can take one of those things, go, and it pops open and the dough starts coming out.
Hey, you're good at that.
It was fun.
Do you believe in miracles?
Yes.
Okay, well, so do I. And it's interesting. I've interviewed Mario Murillo through the years on numerous occasions, and then I kind of lost track of him, and I bumped into him last year at the NRB. We had a long conversation. And but he's coming out with a movie, and it says, I Am Living Proof, and it's all about people who experience miracles through his tent crusades.
Oh.
So here's a little bit of a update on that movie soon to come out.
In the summer of 2022, evangelist Mario Murillo brought his Living Proof crusade to Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Well, I've known Mario for 56 years.
At the height of the Jesus movement in Southern California, Mario had led Bob Maddox to Christ when they were just teenagers. Decades later, Bob had become a pastor and film director.
And so he sent me a testimony of a man that was healed at the crusade and said, this should be made into a documentary.
That his power will be broken in me once and for all by the blood of Jesus and by the power of the cross.
And when that happened to me that night, it changed my whole complete outlook in life, and I can't be any happier.
The man who had received healing and a radical conversion was indeed a powerful witness to the grace and mercy of God.
And the more we investigated that healing and additional healings, the more it became clear that there was an amazing story here.
The next story was a young woman by the name of Bree, who suffered from a debilitating illness for several years.
I wasn't even supposed to be there because I couldn't even get out of bed that day, and my brother had to literally help carry me out of the bed. And I was at the tent, and Mario was doing a salvation call, and I went up there, and in the middle of the salvation call, he just pointed at me, and he just, boom, that's what it happened.
Jesus saw the crowds, was moved with compassion, and then great power was manifested.
It just hits you. You go, this is a real thing. And we capture on film her moment of healing. It leaves you in tears.
I think this movie is for skeptics. It's for the person who says, I'm not quite sure I think God is still real in the world, that he still is working.
Shane Gilbert is the film's producer.
Well, the title of the film, I Am Living Proof, actually stems off of the name of Mario's Crusades, which is living proof. So they're the living proof that God obviously has to be healing still today.
The status of these three people is now over 2.5 years later, after they were healed, they came to the premiere in Colorado, all three of them. One had graduated from Bible college. The other had been living and walking out her healing for 2.5 years. They were all so happy and full of life, and it just struck you deeply. Yeah.
All I know is God's heart, and his heart is for people to be healed, 100%. And I truly believe there's going to be a huge outpouring in Colorado Springs. Truly. I'm so excited.
In Colorado Springs, Colorado, I am Sam Ebersole, reporting for the Global News Alliance.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Now, I interviewed, like I said, Mario on many occasions years ago, because when he was really young and stuff like that. Well, when I saw him at the NRB, we chit-chatted, and he kind of remembered me. We chit-chatted back and forth a little bit. And I said, how's it going? He said, well, he was talking then. There is work on possibly a movie. Now, what's really good about this was the key at the end, where they talked to these people several years later.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And now that is good stuff.
Yeah. Do we know when this is going to be coming out?
I haven't got the details on it yet, but you could probably Google I Am Living Proof and check it out when it's coming out. So that's all coming out. All right, we'll take a quick break. And what is today?
Today is, I don't know, what is that? Well, oatmeal cookie, that lazy cookie.
Thing.
And Sloppy Joe's. Sloppy Joe's.
Sloppy Joe's.
All right.
Because of your love. Yeah, yeah.
The threat of wildfire poses a growing risk to Oregonians. You can prepare now by taking 3 important steps. Create a home inventory, make copies of important financial records, and contact your insurance company to make sure you have the right amounts and types of home insurance coverage. Be wildfire ready by being insurance ready. Visit dfr.oregon.gov/prepare now to learn how.
Attention golf lovers and local supporters. Join Rogue Valley Habitat for Humanity's inaugural golf tournament Friday, April 25th at Centennial Golf Course in Medford. 4-person scramble with 9 a.m. shotgun start. $600. Get your dream team, the full VIP treatment, greens fees, carts, prizes, tournament gear, and banquet tickets. Register by March 1st for our early bird special, a free team player pack worth $100. Time to show off those skills while helping local families achieve affordable homeownership. Register at roguevalleyhabitat.org or call 541-261-3520.
Life has many challenges. When you need answers, theDove.us is here with encouragement, videos, news, and information to restore, renew, and point you to what matters most. Turn to theDove.us, encouraging and informative.
The biblical instructions for coming to Christ are repentance and faith. So repentance, that is turning away from your lifestyle of sin, and faith, trusting in the Lord Jesus Christ alone.
There is truth in this world because God created it, and His Word is truth. We see this laid out in the Bible, the foundation to a reasonable faith. And that faith is centered on Jesus Christ and His great work.
Monday, Friday, and Saturday on the Dove TV.
Okay, good morning to you. 10 minutes before the hour. By the way, I just got a text from Nancy, and the I'm Living Proof came out March 8th. Sorry, I didn't know that sooner.
Yeah.
So you can check it out where it's airing. And, to take a look at it.
Well, I wonder 2 things. I wonder if we're going to get a local airing in one of our local theaters, and if we're going to be able to watch it online.
Either or. Go to YouTube right now.com/watch, and then for I'm Living Proof, probably watch it there.
All right.
Good morning. 10 minutes before the hour. The other day I had Stacy Washington on. Boy, what a fun person she is. She wrote a book called Eternally Cancel Proof, and in her walk with the Lord, and she was maturing in the Lord, she kept getting canceled. She's a and highly regarded and award-winning journalist. She kept getting canceled. And I said, so what clicked when you begin to stand up? And here's what she had to say.
Well, the first time I was canceled, it was by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. I was a columnist there and one of the few conservative voices in the newspaper. And I wrote an article, one of my weekly articles, submitted it to my editor. He edited it and then posted it. This was an independent contractor type of a situation where I was their conservative columnist, but I was not actually their direct employee. So I didn't have access to their system. So my editor posted all of my work. He reviewed it, thought it was fine, posted it, happened to be the week of the NRA convention. There was huge backlash to it. I mean, they were so upset because in the article I said that not only are gun owners not terrorists, but gun owners are the most law-abiding segment of society. And that different individuals from a University of Missouri professor had said gun owners were like terrorists. Other columnists were saying American gun owners were like terrorists. And, this includes Democrats who own guns, but they seemed oblivious to that. And so the article was debunking that, sharing some statistics. And they suspended me. They said they needed to investigate whether or not I was actually working on behalf of the NRA. Now, I had never been paid by the NRA, but I had done a couple of, guest articles, and I'd gone to a couple of conventions and events, but I wasn't their employee. But they were alleging that because the article was so good, I must be an NRA employee masquerading as an employee of theirs. I promptly quit because I wasn't going to submit myself to a weeks-long investigation where they, kind of smeared me in the paper every week. Wow. And I ended up going on to write for the National Rifle Association. I did that for a while, and I wrote for other publications, and I was nominated for an award and won an award for my journalism in 2018. And then I went into Christian radio and did that for a long time, like 4 or 5 years. And then one Friday afternoon, my boss called me 4 minutes after my show ended and said that my time slot was being given to my boss and I was done. And I was devastated. I mean, it was far too much of an impact on me. And I went to Bible study with my Bible study mentor. That's who she is now. But back then, she was just a friend that I knew in her 90s. And we would study together for about an hour and a half. every week. And she told me, she said, that the issue I'm having with you is not that you don't have the Christian radio job anymore. It's that you're so upset about it. Why are you this upset when this opportunity is now it's not your time to do this anymore? And I couldn't figure it out. And after studying God's word, I realized instead of finding my identity in him, I'm a child of the King, made right with the Father by the works of Jesus Christ on the cross. I'm co-heirs with him. I'm clothed in white, and I can go to the throne of grace and offer my petitions to God and know that he'll answer my prayers, because I am brought into the kingdom by Jesus, that this is my identity. I'm a child of God. I'm not a radio host. That's not my identity. That's work that I do until the next opportunity. I'm on an adventure commissioned by God, and he is the one who orders my steps.
Wow. Yeah, we're all on a journey.
She's good.
Yeah, she's a live wire. Look for it. I only had her for one segment, but I want to get her back because her book, and her book is really a good book. You might want to check it out, Eternally Cancel Proof. That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, what else you got going on here?
Well, have you ever checked out of your hotel or motel and you realize that you left something behind in your room? Did you ever leave your pet alligator in there?
Yeah.
This guy did. Take a look at this.
The Sheboygan Police Department said officers were called to a Pine Rivers motel room when housekeeping staff found a live alligator in a recently vacated room. The motel's manager said, "We just went in to clean the room, and when my nephew looked under the bed, Wally was there. He was a real friendly gator, so I didn't feel real scared. He let the police officers hold him and all that. I mean, it was a really friendly alligator." Police determined that the alligator, named Wally, belonged to a man who owns multiple exotic animals and takes them to elementary schools for demonstrations. The owner was contacted and told police he knew Wally was missing, but he didn't realize he had left him at the motel. The manager said he thought it got out. He looked for him but couldn't find it. Wally was reunited with his owner on Friday night.
But he's a really friendly alligator.
Yeah, so why are you missing 3 fingers?
I can't believe the guy left him. I knew he was missing, and he was a big alligator. He's like almost 4 feet long. Like,
how do you not?
How do you miss that?
How do you miss not? You packed him in there and you don't remember packing him out?
Yeah, and how would you like to be, the people coming in to clean that room? Oh, there's an alligator on the floor underneath the bed.
Well, I've left... like phone chargers and stuff like that. I've done that. I can't imagine hotels probably have a gazillion of those.
Yeah, I wonder what their lost and found looks like.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Phones would be the horrible one.
I would think so.
But you rapidly come back and you have to. But an alligator, a real alligator.
Yeah.
All right, Pastor Mark Little will be with us coming up a little bit later on. Always great to have him around. We'll be talking about, are we still polarized even after the election, or are we more polarized?
It seems as though we're getting worse.
Okay, so
it does.
So I'm going to ask him this question. It's rhetorical, and I'm sure there's a clear answer to it, but I want a little bit deeper answer.
What?
What's the difference between a president and a savior?
Oh my goodness. Oh.
Now, I know everybody's already answered that question.
Yeah, boy.
Okay.
Ooh.
But I can tell you, emotionally, a lot of people haven't made that decision.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So we'll talk about that. Proverbs 18:19. Well, this is good because today is Proverbs 18. No, today, yeah. Mm-hmm. So Proverbs 18:19. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous runs into it and is safe. There you go. Take that with you today. Proverbs 18. Not eat. Well, you could eat it. A proverb a day.
You came from heaven to earth to show the way.
That was the greatest thing that ever happened. And I knew then that I wanted to be a baseball player. I'm about helping people. That's my thing. Because they always say, let the works I've done speak for me. We got to do a lot of praying because it's been divided. We need each other. Blacks, whites, we need everybody to defend this country.
Tuesday on the 700 Club, right here on the Dove TV.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Burgers, salads, sandwiches, barbecue platters, sides, and more. Smoked, grilled, and served to perfection. Sweet Tea Express, breakfast, burgers, and barbecue.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
Grange Co-op, where big ideas grow.
If you enjoy the Dove, help spread the word. Tell someone who needs the love of Jesus about the Dove TV. If they can't receive a signal, the Dove streams worldwide on Roku and Apple TV, plus online at theDove.us. Spread the word.
You feel most alive where you feel most at home. And this is living. Bobcat, the company that changed the way the world works, is coming home with a quality compact tractor built to match your quality of life. This isn't work you have to do. It's work you get to do. So get it done in a tractor that's all you. See your dealer or visit bobcat.com.
Romans 1:20 tells us God's power is revealed in creation. Yet 2 Corinthians 4:4 reminds us that Satan has blinded many to the gospel. At the Life Outdoors, we've seen the truth of God, His eternal power and divine nature displayed in every mountain and stream. Follow along and let's wake the wild within. The mountains don't lie. Where there's truth, there's Jesus.
Preaching the gospel and equipping the saints in a way that only Todd Friel can. Wretched, weekdays and weeknights on the Dove TV, encouraging and informative.
Well, good morning, good morning. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove. A lot going on in the news. There always is, and Jerry's here to straighten you out.
You betcha.
That's all it takes.
Good morning.
You can take what he says to the bank.
Yeah, but you can't cash it in. It's not worth anything. It's not something you can deposit, but have fun taking it there.
Well, it could hack your account.
Well, good luck on that, too.
Good luck on that.
Yeah.
Hey, anyway, good morning to you. Happy Tuesday. A ton going on in the news. There always is. And we have some fun things to talk about. We got some weather that's kind of in and out, but next week is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Good news on our backyard. We'll talk about that. And anything special today?
It is National Supreme Sacrifice Day, honoring those who have made tremendous sacrifices for the sake and the good of others, as well as those who sacrifice their lives every day for us. And of course, the first that come to mind are those in uniform in defense of our country and our freedoms, as well as those in law enforcement. And our hats off to you, but our hats off to all who have sacrificed to help others. Also, National Ag Day, and as you said, it's important for people to understand where the food comes from.
Doesn't come from Safeway.
It doesn't. That's right. Or food for less. That's right. That's
it comes from the ground.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or animals.
And it's good. Those with an ag background. I imagine that those with an ag background is kind of dwindling now in numbers because we're seeing big ag kind of in the forefront now. We grew up in a day and age when there were a lot of family farms.
Yep.
And certainly not as many as there used to be.
Well, there's less than 2 million left. Now, that sounds like a big number.
Yeah, it does.
But a small family farm could be 10 acres.
Right. Yeah.
But there used to be millions of them, and they're slowly going away, either going out of business or being bought out.
Yeah, true. Yep. And next, it's a big day for me. It's National Biodiesel Day, commemorating the birth of Rudolf Diesel, the guy who invented the diesel engine, and he unveiled it at the World's Fair in 1900. It was originally designed to be run on nothing but peanut oil. How about that? And since we have, done a blend, and now the blend these days is everywhere from like 5% to 20%. Sometimes I buy B20, and that is 20% What, McDonald's French fry oil? I don't know what's the oil that they use these days?
I don't know. I'm sure RFK Jr. will weigh in on that.
As long as there's no food dyes in it. I have seen guys who have converted their trucks, in fact, a truck just like what I drive, where they could drive it on nothing but old French fry oil and stuff, and they stop at restaurants and they get their old oil and stuff, and they haul it around in the back of the truck, and then they fill it up.
That's how you get all the stray dogs to go to one place?
So enjoy your biodiesel. Also, let's have something to eat. It's National Sloppy Joe Day. This is one of America's all-time favorite hot sandwiches. Its base ingredient is often ground beef, but others use turkey and buffalo too, and other elements to give it flavor like onions, tomato sauce, brown sugar, cola, or maple syrup to sweeten it up, and seasonings to spice it. And of course, any secret ingredient families may add over the years, and I'm sure there are a bunch of those. All of it is served up on a hamburger, bun, or roll, and is it ever sloppy? Be sure to grab more than one napkin. And you said you like your Sloppy Joe's open face.
Yeah.
So, do you want it on the bottom of the bun or flip over the top of the bun and use that?
Whatever is left.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, there's on toasted bread.
Yeah, I probably like that a little bit better.
Oh, yeah, a little less bread for you.
Yeah.
You're kind of like Pam. Pam doesn't like all that bread.
I don't either. Yeah.
She ends up putting it on my plate.
Does she?
Yeah.
Smart Pam.
And then she wants me to get rid of it.
Okay, good.
Okay, thank you, Pam.
Now, I want to come back to the word diesel.
Okay. Oh, no. Okay.
Well, it's a great name for either a pit bull or a mini poodle.
Yes. Okay.
Well, here's French Fry doing the weather.
We'll see a small break in active weather systems that are approaching our region. So today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, showers likely, then mostly cloudy with daytime high temperatures near 51 for Vancouver, Portland, Wilsonville, and McMinnville with lows in the upper 30s. Continuing down the Willamette Valley with showers, then mostly cloudy and daytime highs in the low 50s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene with a southwest wind around 6 miles per hour. A chance of snow showers this morning across central Oregon, then partly sunny with daytime highs near 46 in Prineville, 42 in Bend, and near 39 in Sun River. Over in Boise, Idaho, mostly sunny and breezy with a high near 47. Along the Oregon coast, showers with the possibility of thunderstorms in some locations and daytime high temperatures near 53 in Coos Bay and low 50s for Port Orford, Brookings, and Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, a chance of rain and snow, then clearing to partly sunny and near 51 in Grants Pass. Partly sunny from Medford with a high near 49, Ashland near 47, and Klamath Falls near 42 with a light west wind. Into northern California, mostly sunny with a high near 45 in Wairika. Early patchy frost, then sunny with highs near 59 in Redding and 60 in Chico. Sunny in Sacramento with a high near 61. In the Bay Area, early patchy frost before 9 a.m., then sunny and near 61 in Santa Rosa and Napa with lows in the mid-30s. Sunny and breezy in San Francisco with a high near 59. And today in San Jose, sunny and 62. It's a look at your Tuesday weather on the Dove.
Okay, a lot of snow at the top of the hill there today. And Tuesday, Wednesday, they're closed. It's going to take them most today and tomorrow to get the place groomed again.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. To get dug out. I wonder what the parking lot looks like.
Look at the amount of snow sitting on top of that lift.
Yeah. Yep, we're looking up the Windsor lift, and boy, it looks like January.
Yeah.
Oh, except not this January.
There you go.
This January was really dry.
Yeah.
Well, moving on here. Pastor Greg Laurie is here to talk about the fruit of the Holy Spirit.
What is the fruit of the Spirit? The fruit of the Spirit is love. Love for what or whom? Love for God and love for others. Jesus said, "By this shall all men know you are my disciples, that you have loved one for another." Jesus said, "If you love me, keep my commandments." So if you really are a Christian, you will love God. And one of the ways you will show this is by doing what he says. And if you really are a Christian, you will love others, even unlovable people. We need help for that. We can't do it in our own strength. I know that people talk about Holy Spirit power. And usually when they say that, they'll say it with a lot of exuberance. I have Holy Spirit power. Really? It's signs and wonders. You know what impresses me more than signs and wonders? Is spiritual fruit. Someone who will actually honor their marriage vows for life. That impresses me. Someone who is unmarried who will remain sexually pure until the day of their wedding. Or a person who is willing to forgive a person who has wronged them. I'm all for spiritual gifts. I'm all for signs and wonders. But I think what we really need to see these days is spiritual fruit in our lives. So others can say that right there is a follower of Jesus Christ. How do you bring forth this fruit? Jesus said in John 15:7, if you abide in me and my words abide in you, you'll ask what you will and it will be done for you. You abide. What does it mean to abide? Just like planting a tree, you sink the roots deeply into the soil. In the same way, the way to bring forth fruit is to walk in communion with Jesus, to stay close to him, and this fruit will come as a result of this relationship with the Lord.
Gifts produce fruits.
Yeah.
You take the 9 gifts that produce 9 fruits. You take the 5 ministry gifts, and there's something else too. I'm trying to think what it is. The 9 fruits, the 9 gifts, the 5 ministry gifts. So that's 9 and 9 is 18, and 5 is what? No, 9 and 9 and 18.
And 5?
And 5 is
23.
All right. So what's the other 7?
30.
No. I'm trying to remember something 50 years ago.
Oh, really? Oh, is this from Bible college?
Yes, and it ain't working.
You're doing better than me.
If you take the 9 fruits, the 9 gifts, the 5 ministry gifts, and there's a couple of others, and I forget what they are, you add them up and it's 33, and that's the life of Christ.
Oh, interesting.
You think about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. So much for that lesson. All right, let's take a look at the top stories. The big one is Israel's resuming war on Hamas. Apparently, the ceasefire has ended, and no further hostages have been released. And so they pounded on Hamas in Gaza yesterday. 413 so far that we know have been killed. And unfortunately, this does include women and children. But when Hamas said no more hostages or withdrew the agreement, Israel responded very forcefully. The White House was notified by this and gave its approval. I don't know where this goes, but one thing is for sure, we're proving now that Hamas cannot be trusted.
And do we even know if anybody of the hostages, are they still alive? Is anybody?
Well, there's a number, and I don't know what the number is, but I do know the percentage is over half of them are not alive.
Okay. All right.
So they were supposed to return a hostage, a live hostage, and the remains of other hostages, and they didn't do it. And so Israel responded. All right, the other story is auto pins. Whoever thought this would be an issue? That the president can sign things with what they call an auto pin, which basically means somebody else signs for him or a machine signs for him or whatever. It's been said presidents have used this while traveling, okay? But the question is, given the former president and his cognitive lack thereof abilities, did he really give the approval to auto-pin certain things, especially the preemptive pardons?
Right.
Well, that came up in a White House questioning yesterday during the press conference, and here's what Press Secretary Levette had to say about it.
The president was begging the question that I think a lot of journalists in this room should be asking about whether or not the former president of the United States, who I think we can all finally agree was cognitively impaired. I know it took people some time to finally admit that, but we all know that to be true, as evidenced by his disastrous debate performance against President Trump during the campaign. I digress on that. But the president was raising the point that did the president even know about these pardons? Was his illegal signature signature used without his consent or knowledge. And that's not just the president or me raising those questions, Caitlin. According to the New York Post, there are Biden officials from the previous White House who raised those questions and wondered if the president was even consulted about his legally binding signature being signed onto documents. And so I think it's a question that everybody in this room should be looking into, because certainly that would propose perhaps criminal or illegal behavior if staff members were signing the President of the United States autograph without his consent.
Is on the record.
All right, there's a couple things come out of this for me. The only way I think this is going to go somewhere is with a whistleblower.
Okay.
If a whistleblower comes out and says, yes, we made up these preemptive pardons, we auto-pinned him for the president and basically informed him of it, which means that he heard but didn't do anything about it.
Right.
Because his cognitive abilities.
Yeah.
The other thing is, it's been said, and I don't know if this is true, but the only thing that he signed in his presidency was the day that he withdrew from the presidential race.
Yep. Yep, we have seen that.
So if everything else he did was auto-pinned, you got to ask yourself, maybe he was, this cognitive problem was more severe early on than anybody led on to be.
And I don't know if anybody is surprised at this. We talked for months about who is actually running the country, who is behind all of the executive actions and all of the things that are coming out of this White House. And now we find out that it may have been somebody, or maybe a cabal, maybe a group, maybe a key individual. I don't think it was Jill, but somebody was doing it.
Something's wrong here with most of the presidential signatures during his administration were auto-pinned. Now, the flip side of that, this president's made it a news event to sign documents, the current president.
Yeah, right.
All right, so the point is, can they literally prove this?
You know, I think that they could, sure.
So to me, it's going to take an investigation of the proceedings up to the auto pin. So the question will be, will there be a whistleblower?
I wonder. And you know, we're looking specifically at the pardons for the January 6th committee. How about the others? How about Hunter? How about his brother?
I would imagine he's informed on those. I don't know. Look,
well, I know that he knows about it, but did he sign them?
Well, I don't know. See, the other thing is, if you look at the preemptive pardons, they all happened at the very last minute.
Right.
And Adam Schiff and others who got this ought to be shaking in their boots.
Yeah, and he's defiant. He basically says, we are proud of our work on the committee, and we will not be intimidated.
There's only two people I want to see go under the mic, actually three. I don't know if it'll happen. It's just my leaning. I want to see Adam Schiff under the microscope. I want to see Dr. Fauci under the microscope.
Yeah.
And James Comey.
Yeah, well,
those three.
Yes.
I don't know if it'll ever happen.
Right.
All right, the last thing is President Trump said, finally, bring them home. Who? The astronauts who'd have been stuck up there since June of 24. That's right. Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams aborted SpaceX capsule yesterday, along with fellow astronaut NASA, astronaut Nick Hague, and a Russian astronaut, Alexander Gorbunovy, I think is how you say that. I need Paulina to help me with that one. Anyway, they're in the capsule. They have detached from the International Space Station, and they're floating around up there, and they're due home around 6 o'clock Florida time today.
Wow. They're a little overdue, aren't they?
Yeah, that weekend, John, went sour. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, I'm counting 10 months.
10 months.
Oh, my
10
God.
months.
Wow.
It was supposed to be a weekend visit, turned into 10 months.
Woo. And, of course, it was interesting because the president said, Elon, go get them.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, I think we're all wondering what the status is of Starliner, because it was their maiden voyage, you know, with a crew, and they couldn't bring them back home. And we know that they've had all kinds of problems, but NASA is sticking with them, saying they are going to be part of the shuttle service back and forth to the International Space Station. So we'll see how it plays out. But I think Boeing's got some serious obstacles in front of them.
Well, Boeing's one of those companies that Here it is, a Pacific Northwest icon.
Yeah.
And they end up moving it to Chicago or some crazy place.
Right.
The headquarters. You know, it's kind of like a big company here in Southern Oregon moved its headquarters to Portland. What'd you do that for?
Yeah. Yeah.
But all the operations down here.
Right. I don't get it.
So they moved out of Seattle, moved everything back east somewhere, and that all blew up, and they're bringing it back. I don't know. To me, Boeing needs stop, refocus, reorganize.
Yeah.
Fix this place, you know.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. All right. Well, there you go. So much for that. And Sloppy Joe's. You can have beef, you can have turkey, and you can have pork.
I'll take it all.
And he puts hot sauce on it.
Yeah, I'll take that too.
Okay. We'll be right back.
All right.
You are the everlasting God, the everlasting God. You do not faint, you won't grow.
At Kelly's Automotive Service,
being good stewards of what God has entrusted to us
is at the core of our business.
We believe what we do matters.
Every interaction, every transaction is another opportunity
to bring Christ's values into the marketplace.
If you're a technician who wants to be part of something bigger,
or just looking for a new shop to bring your vehicle,
we would love to meet you.
We're Kelly's Automotive Service,
where we service your vehicle,
but take care of you.
Get ready for fun at Rogue Ski Shop Think Snow Sale. Boulder Gear clothing now 20% off. Goggles, adults starting at $29, kids starting at $26. All Scott gloves 20% off. If you ski or ride, it's time to slide into Rogue Ski Shop Medford.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian owned and operated, pet friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site 24/7 in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
If you enjoy the Dove, help spread the word. Tell someone who needs the love of Jesus about the Dove TV. If they can't receive a signal, the Dove streams worldwide on Roku and Apple TV, plus online at theDove.us. Spread the word.
Hey, how you doing out there? Happy Tuesday. You know what? Today and tomorrow are the last 2 days of winter.
Yeah.
Because it shows up on Thursday, spring does. And so we're going to spring into action. Looking forward to it. I had a couple stories. It looks like, as you know, the president's gone around and pretty much put the kibosh on DEI being through federal agencies and has even extended it into anybody that receives federal money. Well, this includes higher education. And so a lot of the universities are beginning to reassess their DEI commitments and committees and all this and that, except Oregon. The Oregon colleges and university basically said, hang it on your big prez.
Wow.
They're not going to do it. Now, I understand the defiance here, but the problem is, where will this lead? Could it lead to withholding funding? We'll have to wait until that happens. But the universities in Oregon said no to it, and they're saying that they can't be fair to students of different ethnicities. Well, it's pretty simple. Take all of the sex part out of it,
right,
and just reform the colleges. And no matter what your ethnicity is, you know, if they qualify to be in school, put them in there and help them if they need the aid and all this and that. But when you took all of the sexual things from LGBTQ to transgenderism, and you moved it into the class of ethnicity,
right,
the same kind of rights, which shouldn't apply, but they made it that way, then things get really squirrely, and that's when you got to say, all right, enough is enough.
Aren't policies that are based on race racist?
Well, yes.
I mean,
because what happened to affirmative action?
Yeah, well,
And affirmative action was supposed to do away with that, but guess what? It's secretly under the table.
Absolutely. This DEI stuff is just insidious, and it is lurking below the surface.
DEI and affirmative action are synonymous.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Can we just get back to, merit-based admissions, merit-based, work,
hiring?
Meritocracy is the way to go.
It is, and even in education.
Absolutely, yes. Why should kids be judged any differently because of whether it's their sex or their color? It's wrong.
Okay, well, a little backyard excitement.
Yeah.
Jerry's second office is going to remain open for 2 extra weekends.
There it is, yeah.
Mount Ashland, beautiful shot there. Look at that. That is a gorgeous shot of Mount Ashland with the bowl up.
With the bowl.
Yeah, the bowl.
Yep.
I'm trying to think the last time I skied the bowl. I think I was 13. I don't know. It's been a long time.
It doesn't get any easier.
There's the lodge. There's all the running. But a beautiful shot. Anyway, we've had such a great season of snow this year that they have worked things out with the forestry that they're going to remain open the weekends of 19 and 20, April, and April 26 and 27. So 2 extra weekends.
Yeah.
I don't know what triggers this decision and how they can do that. I'm just assuming that there's so much snow that the forestry says, you know what, keeping it packed helps the runoff.
Yeah.
So let's just keep it going.
And you made the key, word in there, forestry, because we are on lease from the forestry department.
Right.
And they basically have, they've worked out the schedule, I guess, with them. This is the first time that I can remember in a long time where we've done something like this, where we've had this extended season.
Well, we've had droughts in the last 5 years. We came out, we had very little snow at this time, but more this year we got an abundance.
But I got to tell you the truth, we've had seasons where we have closed with 10 feet of snow on the ground.
Yeah, so what triggers it?
I don't know. I don't. Something happened this year, and we're going to try to find out. But we are extremely pleased, and I hope people turn out.
So, is the plans? Do you know, Mr. Mount Ashland PR director?
Right.
Do you know if there is plan to replace the aerial chair? It's the oldest chair on the West Coast.
There are rumblings that they want to replace aerial chair and the Windsor chair, both of them.
Because is it true it's the oldest chair on the West Coast?
I think it's one of the oldest chairs in the country, period.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was installed in 1964, and it was used then. It was a used chairlift.
Well, we were budget conscious. Kind of like your bridge.
You know what? I brought my little kids up on that chairlift. Now my little grandkids are being brought up on that chairlift. It's time for something new up there.
Okay.
It's hard to get them on when you got to lift them on. You got a pole in the middle. You bang your head in.
Yeah.
At least these days we wear helmets. In the old days we didn't. We just got bumps on our heads.
So bigger chairs?
I would think what I heard the initial rumblings is maybe a triple chair.
Okay.
But not a detachable triple. Detachable is a whole different kind of an animal. So it'll be a triple chair. So we also have to be careful. We don't want to put too many skiers on the top of that hill, because that at the very top of the aerial chair, it's a narrow throat up there, and the more people you put up there, the tougher it is to get them down through. So we'll see how they balance this, but there's great interest in this maybe coming project. Maybe.
All right, we'll see.
All right.
Let's check out Wall Street for this Tuesday morning. Thank you, Preston, at Smart Lawn. He's the smartest guy you know if you want to not mow your lawn anymore. Well, the Dow's not happy today. It's down 250 points. The Nas is off 330 points, and the S&P's down 64. I'm sure that's because of the strike in Israel. It's very emotional. In the meantime, that pushed gold. Look at that. Gold's past $3,000 an ounce. Silver's to almost $35 an ounce. And crude oil went up $1.50, $71.11.
So are you buying or selling gold right now?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. Gold's an interesting thing. I watch it only because I'm interested in it. But there was a time you could buy it for like $250 an ounce. Yeah. Now it's $3,000 an ounce.
And now you can buy precious metals at Costco. Do you know that?
Oh, really? You can't buy one bar, you got to get two?
It's kind of like toilet paper. You got to get a case.
Everything there is two. You can't get one loaf of bread, you got to get two. So if you're going to buy one bar of gold, you get two?
Right.
Gosh.
Yeah, and and it's not like the rotisserie chicken, because you come walking down Costco and the rotisserie chicken, they open the ovens and they start pulling them off. Crowds gather.
Yeah, I know.
You got to elbow, and I'm telling you what, there are some pretty strong women who are going to get that chicken.
Yeah, but
and in there.
Do you feel sorry for the little old lady that's behind you?
I don't feel sorry for anybody.
All right, so a little bit of continuing complaint.
Okay.
Put the chicken back into the plastic.
The little trays.
Yes.
Yeah, with a little bubble top. A bag is tough, isn't it?
Well, you get dirty. You get your hands in it.
Right.
And you can't. The other one, you can take the lid off and slice it and leave it there.
You know what? Everybody listening just said amen, brother, to that one. Absolutely.
Oh, well.
All right. Well,
it's $5. I guess you can't complain too much.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. What a deal. Yeah. All right. Well, we're watching the activities of our president. It's hard to keep up with them. We have lots of activity going on in the Middle East, and then, of course, discussing a Ukraine peace deal. Well, the State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce joined Fox Business and reacted to this clip of President Trump on Air Force One discussing the Ukraine peace deal.
Talking about land. It's a lot of land. It's a lot different than it was before the wars, And we'll be talking about land. We'll be talking about power plants. That's up, that's a big question. But I think we have a lot of it already discussed very much by both sides.
You'll ask him.
Ukraine and Russia.
You'll ask him.
We're already talking about that, dividing up certain assets. Yeah, and they've been working on that.
With President Trump, of course, you've got the best deal maker, perhaps that the world has known. And of course, we're going to see that impact with the work already he's done and will be doing in this regard. But traveling with the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, has been extremely enlightening. He is a man who is focused on the nature of getting the killing to stop. He knows, of course, what the vision of Donald Trump is in this regard. But in order to be able to talk about the result of peace, right, how we can have this be an enduring peace, not something that lasts a month or 6 months or even a year or two, is the first thing you've got to do is get them to stop killing each other. So the shooting, the killing has to stop. And that's what all of this effort has been. First in Riyadh with a Russian delegation, and then, of course, in Jeddah with the Ukrainians, working on the fact that this has to end. The world wants it to end. And this is where we've got, of course, Secretary of State Rubio doing the shuttle diplomacy, led then by President Trump and his conversations with the president of Russia, to continue this forward so that Russia agrees with this ceasefire so we can get down to business.
Wow.
I don't. It's just amazing to me. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's interesting watching this play out, too, because we know that there's an interesting dynamic that goes on between the President of the United States and Vladimir Putin. Did you realize that Vladimir Putin has been in power in Russia? He is the longest to hold power in Russia in the last 200 years. It's amazing.
Yeah.
You think of Stalin, Lenin, Stalin, Khrushchev, and Gorbachev. Yeah, but no, it's Putin.
Well, the president said something that's interesting. Exchange of assets.
Yes, we're already talking about dividing up assets. That was key.
Power plants and land.
Yes.
So in some ways, Putin gets a little out of this deal.
Oh, I think Putin's going to, yes, yeah.
So I'm sure he'll be criticized for that.
Right.
But if the motive is to stop the killing, the question is how bindable will be the agreement? Because you can't do something what's going on with Hamas. You can't have something that loose.
Yeah. Well, and isn't it interesting, the activity and what we see going on now under this present administration and how little was going on in the past?
Yeah, I mean, look, 90 days of his administration, we're already talking at the peace table, so this is pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
Just a lot to consider here, We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah. All right, good morning to you. We'll take a quick Sloppy Joe break. We'll be right back.
Your yard is where life happens, but it can be muddy and hard to maintain. Enjoy a maintenance-free artificial turf lawn all year round with Smart Lawn LLC. No mowing, no fertilizing, no watering. Our synthetic grass is beautiful and resilient. It's certified to be lead-free, and there's no need for pesticides. Safe for your children and pets. Smart Lawn LLC has all your artificial turf and putting green areas covered beautifully. 541-941-3538.
Your property demands equipment with more reliability, durability, and versatility built in. Kubota equipment is ready to get the job done right.
Mornings on the Dove is unlike anything you'll experience. Not only will we fulfill our goal to bring you encouragement, but we'll also fulfill our goal in bringing you information that you need.
I think the biggest thing that we are hoping to accomplish in the morning show and bring to the viewers is hope. As we look at the events that are swirling around us, seemingly at times that are way beyond our control, we look to the hope that we have in Jesus Christ and what He has given for us.
We select the top stories. We try to make you informed so you're a good citizen to start your day. But most of all, to give you the encouragement so that you can have a good day and a happy day.
We seem to have a lot of fun on camera because we are having a lot of fun on camera. We have a great rapport. We go back and forth. Perry's like one of the funniest guys I've ever seen.
Wake up to hope. Watch Mornings on the Dove, weekdays only on the Dove TV.
Happy Tuesday, 26 minutes before the hour. Well, as we now know over the last 24 hours, quite the attack on Gaza there against Hamas from Israel. Let's check in with CBN Newswatch and get caught up.
This is CBN Newswatch.
I want to begin this busy Tuesday in the Middle East, where the ceasefire between Hamas and Israel has come to an end as Israeli warplanes begin pounding Hamas targets inside Gaza early today. The renewed fighting comes after Hamas refused to extend the ceasefire deal. CBN Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell brings us the story now. He's reporting from Jerusalem.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu gave the order overnight, stating the aim is to achieve the war's objectives, including the release of all of our hostages, both the living and the fallen. The cabinet approved the decision after Hamas repeatedly refused to release the hostages and rejected proposals presented by President Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, and other mediators.
What we have seen them do is prepare for a terror attack against our troops in Gaza, but more importantly, against our civilians in the communities outside of Gaza and the Western Negev. What we did is we took a preemptive strike on those terrorists, specifically those commanders, and on terror targets, removing those threats, and basically saying we will not accept this.
President Trump was informed of the plan beforehand.
The Trump administration and the White House were consulted by the Israelis on their attacks in Gaza tonight. And as President Trump has made it clear, Hamas, the Houthis, Iran, all those who seek to terrorize not just Israel, but also the United States of America, will see a price to pay.
Israel's new chief of staff, Eyal Zamir, oversaw the operations alongside the head of the Shin Bet, Ronen Bar. Earlier in the week, Netanyahu announced he plans to fire Bar, the head of the nation's most powerful intelligence agency, over internal disagreements. That would be unprecedented in Israel's history. The attacks now dramatically change the situation between Israel and Hamas after several weeks of ceasefire and negotiations. The two sides' bottom line demands are contradictory. Israel insists the war can't permanently end till Hamas frees the hostages, disarms, and gives up governing Gaza. Hamas refuses to lay its arms and give up power. It says it won't release the hostages till Israel ends the war and withdraws its troops. Hamas is now issuing threats against the captives, saying in a statement that ending the ceasefire is, quote, exposing the hostages in Gaza to an unknown fate. However, the hostages are Hamas's only real bargaining chip. And if they're all killed, there'll be nothing left to keep the IDF from going all out to destroy the terror group. All this comes as the U.S. continues strikes at Houthi targets in Yemen to end their attacks on shipping in the region.
Today, the operation continues, and it will continue in the coming days until we achieve the president's objectives.
President Trump is now giving Iran, the Houthis' main sponsor, a tough warning. He posted on Truth Social, "Every shot fired by the Houthis will be looked upon from this point forward as being a shot being fired from the weapons and leadership of Iran. And Iran will be held responsible and suffer the consequences, and those consequences will be dire."
Continue our coverage now with Chris in Israel. Chris, are these strikes intended to be pressure tactics to get Hamas to release the hostages? And will Israel keep striking Hamas until they either agree to a hostage release deal or Israel basically wipes out Hamas?
Well, first of all, Ephraim, I think part of this is an attempt to stop that imminent attack that the IDF spokesman talked about, that Hamas was preparing. We asked him about a ground operation and will this actually increase? He told us that all options are on the table and they're committed to the goals of the war, which would be freeing all the hostages and then dismantling Hamas, make sure they can never carry out another October 7th. And for Israel, unless they change their goals, this is a fight to the finish. They want to eliminate Hamas, which they believe this is an existential war. And they said also, it's been reported that these airstrikes didn't pose a threat to the hostages' safety, but they did target Hamas's ability to govern. But to your question, it does put pressure on Hamas to release more of the hostages, and that certainly was part of the reasoning for the attack last night against Hamas in the Gaza Strip.
Could Israel step up its attacks and go beyond Gaza?
Well, actually, in one sense, Ephraim, they're already going beyond Gaza. One thing that we've noted before is that they're actually hitting targets in Syria. They consider the Islamist regime there a threat, and they don't want the Assad regime's weapons, anything from military infrastructure to chemical weapons, being used in the future against Israel. The next huge question really is going to be Iran. The U.S. position is becoming increasingly clear with the attack on the Houthis, and the signal is don't support the enemies of the U.S. And so the combination of what the Trump administration is doing in Yemen and what Israel is doing in Gaza really sends a strong message that Israel and the U.S. are both prepared to go beyond Gaza, whether it includes Syria. And the big question is it going to include Iran itself?
Wow. Okay. Well, we'll see. That's just 24 hours. Give it another 24 hours.
Yeah.
All right. Let's check out the weather because it's interesting.
We'll see a small break in active weather systems that are approaching our region. So today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, showers likely, then mostly cloudy with daytime high temperatures near 51 for Vancouver, Portland, Wilsonville, and McMinnville with lows in the upper 30s. Continuing down the Willamette Valley with showers, then mostly cloudy and daytime highs in the low 50s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene with a southwest wind around 6 miles per hour. A chance of snow showers this morning across central Oregon, then partly sunny with daytime highs near 46 in Prineville, 42 in Bend, and near 39 in Sun River. Over in Boise, Idaho, mostly sunny and breezy with a high near 47. Along the Oregon coast, showers with the possibility of thunderstorms in some locations and daytime high temperatures near 53 in Coos Bay and low 50s for Port Orford, Brookings, and Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, a chance of rain and snow, then clearing to partly sunny and near 51 in Grants Pass. Partly sunny from Medford with a high near 49, Ashland near 47, and Klamath Falls near 42 with a light west wind. Into northern California, mostly sunny with a high near 45 in Wairika. Early patchy frost, then sunny with highs near 59 in Redding and 60 in Chico. Sunny in Sacramento with a high near 61. In the Bay Area, early patchy frost before 9 a.m., then sunny and near 61 in Santa Rosa and Napa with lows in the mid-30s. Sunny and breezy in San Francisco with a high near 59. And today in San Jose, sunny and 62. It's a look at your Tuesday weather on the Dove.
Well, there's a beautiful shot off the top of, I think that's Roxy Ann.
Yep.
And that is beautiful. So we are seeing less snow. You know, yesterday that had snow on it.
It did, yeah.
So anyway, a beautiful shot looking north looking west at the north end of the valley. There we go.
And that's going to change by the middle of next week. It's going to look even different. Okay, well, he is one of the most iconic of all TV commercial characters, and it was on this day in history that the Pillsbury Doughboy was born.
On March 18th, 1965, a copywriter named Rudy Perez had an idea while sitting at his kitchen table. What if a ball of dough came to life? Inspired by a fresh Pillsbury dough can popping open, he imagined a cheerful, giggling character, soft, friendly, and full of warmth. That vision became Poppin' Fresh, the Pillsbury Doughboy. Poppin' Fresh was given a scarf, a chef's hat, and 2 big blue eyes, and brought to life by stop-motion animation. The Doughboy made his debut in a TV commercial in November of 1965, where he'd pop out of a can, say hello, and giggle when poked in the belly. Audiences fell in love, and over the decades, he became a cultural icon, appearing in over 600 ads, as well as merchandise, and even appearing in parodies. He's one of the most used characters in the history of TV commercials. Though his look evolved, his charm never faded. Today, the Pillsbury Doughboy remains a symbol of home-baked joy, proving that a simple giggle can last for generations.
Pretty clever.
Yeah, they had a whole bunch of different voice actors that had voice to the Pillsbury Doughboy. The most noteworthy is the guy that did Winnie the Pooh was the voice of the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Oh, he's still out there.
He's not done yet. He's born in 1965 and he's going strong.
Attaboy.
Right.
All right, good morning to you. On Newsmax, a program called Sunday Agenda, if you can imagine this, Pastor Kevin Kahara, he shares the experience of having a gun pointed at his head. Here's his testimony. Okay.
You feel like you have a gun pointed to your head right now.
It's called a camera.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah. We'll get that back for you.
Okay.
I can't imagine that.
I can.
Some of the people that when we have a Global News Network, we find out what God's doing in other countries. I think the persecuted, Open Doors ministry that tracks the persecuted church around the world. We have a lot of problems in America, but it's a whole lot easier. In spite of the fact we're under, constant change, we're a whole lot better off than some of these other countries. So we'll get that testimony for you coming up. All right, it's a quarter before the hour. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, are you cancel-proof? Have you ever been canceled? Other than being on this TV with...
No, Pam's tried it a couple times, but I emerged. I made it.
I have a response to that one.
Oh, no.
Lord, can you tell me how far is heaven? 'Cause I just gotta know how far is heaven? Yeah, Lord, can you tell me?
Buying or selling a home can be stressful. It's one of the biggest decisions you'll make in your lifetime. That's why it's important to work with someone you trust, someone who has the right experience and knowledge of the market.
Hi, we're Patrick and Paulina Leiser with Leiser Real Estate Group.
And whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, our mission is to take the stress out of the transaction and make it as seamless and rewarding as possible.
Contact us today. We look forward to working with you.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect.
Want to be part of something impactful? Rogue Valley Habitat's first ever golf tournament is teeing off at Centennial Golf Course April 25th, and the smartest businesses in Southern Oregon are jumping in. Sponsorship packages from $500 to $5,000 include course signage, event promotions, and networking opportunities. Top sponsors receive tournament team entry. Ready to be a game changer? Call Tyler Hunter at 541-261-3520 today. Rogue Valley Habitat, building community one home at a time.
Hello, everyone in Dove Land. My name is Todd Friel, host of Wretched TV, inviting you to join us for Wretched, the TV program I host. If you have evangelism heebie-jeebies, you're terrified to share your faith.
He didn't make a man to be a woman. He made the man to be a man. He didn't.
Okay, hold on here, guys. I don't know what that is. Okay, we'll
was
come
that
back.
was that the video that we were just?
Well, it is, but we'll come back to that a little bit later on.
All right.
Okay, so anyway, I found something that Doge is having an impact.
Yeah, right.
You know what's interesting is Elon hasn't been in the news for 3 days,
Well,
other than SpaceX.
True. That's.
Have you noticed that none of the headlines
yeah,
went
where's
after
Elon?
Doge?
Yeah.
Except this one.
Yeah.
I never thought Doge would affect me personally. My wife asked me to email her by midnight 5 things that I did around the house last week.
Welcome to the system.
There we go.
Oh, yes. So, did you get them all down?
Well, yeah. All right. I had Stacy Washington on. Really, the first time I had her on, she's really a great guest, and I hope to have her back. She wrote a book, Eternally Cancel Proof. And as she was becoming more mature in the faith, she, as a journalist, an award-winning journalist, she was being canceled left and right. And so I spoke to her about how understanding who she was in Christ changed the way that she spoke publicly. And here's what she had to say.
It's because we don't know who we are in Christ. We don't understand the power of God and operating in our lives. We don't understand He really answers prayer. When we get a revelation of what God can do through us, we will no longer allow bullies and people who believe lies to dominate the conversation. God sent us here. We're to tend the garden. That includes managing politics, everything. When I got that revelation, I became even more confident in being able to speak out about these issues. Any issue. I now know it doesn't matter if I say something, as long as it's truth, as long as it's what God has given me to say. If that ends up with someone suspending me or letting me go from my job, then that means God has something else for me to do. And so I don't shy back from it anymore. Even in personal relationships, it can be difficult, right? You have friends that they don't believe the truth about an issue. They want validation. Instead, you have to tell them the truth. God wants you to tell them the truth because the truth not only sets them free, but gives them an opportunity to improve their life so that they can be obedient to God and receive His blessings. So it was wonderful to get canceled. And that's what I want to think. Like, I want you to understand that if you get canceled, you just have to say to God, okay, what's next?
Okay, what's next? I think, what a great attitude.
What's next?
What a great attitude.
Right.
What a great attitude. Well, I'm going to have Jonathan Fieldstein back with us, president and the founder of the what they call the Genesis 123 Foundation. And we'll be talking a little bit about what happened in Gaza last night. So.
Oh, yeah.
And what this means. And has Israel in its mind crossed the line where now the hostages, no hostages were released. Hamas has broken all their promises.
Right.
And Israel decided to go in there and do some damage and kill a lot of people. Is that a change in attitude? And does it risk the remaining lives of the hostages? So we'll talk about that coming up.
I can't wait to hear it. Well, when you have checked out of a hotel room or motel room, have you ever left anything behind in the room?
Well, let's see.
Let me ask you this. Okay. When you leave the room, are you supposed to take your key card and leave it in the room, or are you supposed to go leave it at the front desk?
I've done both.
Me too. What's the right way?
Well, I don't know. Is there?
I don't know either.
Is there a right way?
I don't know. You know, somebody once said that, hey, you shouldn't leave it there because they have your data on the magnetic strip on the back. And that has been a real controversial topic. We've brought it up to a couple people when we've been out traveling.
Really?
Yeah, but I don't think it's true. But there are some that contend that your personal information is on that strip.
I thought it's just the room number.
I thought it was too. In fact, they don't. And the other trouble with this, having room keys these days instead of a key that you go in, a room card, I should say, is that there's no number on the card. You have to actually remember what room you're in.
Yeah, so if you ever got up to the 4th floor, you got there and it didn't work, and you have all your luggage there at the door, and no matter what you did, it didn't work, and you had to go back down and get another one?
Well, when you leave your hotel room, make sure you get all of your personal items and get them out of there, especially your alligator, as wasn't the case in this instance.
The Sheboygan Police Department said officers were called to a Pine Rivers motel room when housekeeping staff found a live alligator in a recently vacated room. The motel's manager said, "We just went in to clean the room, and when my nephew looked under the bed, Wally was there. He was a real friendly gator, so I didn't feel real scared. He let the police officers hold him and all that. I mean, it was a really friendly alligator." Police determined that the alligator, named Wally, belonged to a man who owns multiple exotic animals and takes them to elementary schools for demonstrations. The owner was contacted and told police he knew Wally was missing, but he didn't realize he had left him at the motel. The manager said he thought it got out, he looked for him but couldn't find it. Wally was reunited with his owner on Friday night.
Don't leave your gator in your room. That you wonder about that, though. Obviously, there's a guy that he takes exotic animals to schools and does demonstrations for kids, and he loses one, and he doesn't say anything to the management.
He had to haul Wally in there.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's a great point, Perry.
And he didn't.
Because this was not a back. Yeah, he's not a small alligator. Wally's pretty big.
Didn't he look in his back seat and see that Wally wasn't in the car seat?
He said he knew he was gone. He just didn't know where he had gone. He didn't realize when he left him in the hotel room. But you make a good point. You had to carry him in there. Where do you think he went?
I don't know. So you look in the rearview mirror. And Wally's not in the car seat. Yeah.
But the help said that Wally was a very friendly alligator.
You can tell by his 3 missing fingers.
Oh. Was Wally smiling at them?
I think so. All right, let's come back to the story I tried to have for you earlier. And this is Pastor Kevin Kahara. Apparently, he shares an experience. I think he's a street preacher. And he shares an experience of a gun being pointed at his head.
He didn't make a man to be a woman. He made the man to be a man. He didn't make the woman to be a man. He made the woman to be a woman. And this is the truth. What are you going to do? Come attack me now?
I should.
Hey, man, it's up to you. If you want to pull that on me, well, God bless you. So you just threatened me with a gun. You just pulled a gun on my face. Man, Lord have mercy on you. This means that you don't even know who you are. Nope, I still love you. Even though you pulled a gun on me, I still love you. I still bless you.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really have much time to think and just kind of react. But in my head, I already knew this guy was really broken, just like me as a lost, broken sinner. And all I could think of was like, okay, well, let me just show him love in return, because that's what Christ commands us to do, right? To love our enemies, to bless those that curse us. So I was a little shocked at first when I saw the gun, and I kind of like leaned back a little bit. But then I remembered that, we're to be bold in speaking the word of God and without compromise, and obviously to do it with grace and love. So that's what was kind of happening.
What if they caught him? They got it on film.
Yeah, but the guy's head's all covered up. It's a lot like those anti-Semitic protesters on Columbia and other college universities. They like to cover up.
Yeah, or at Trump Tower.
Or at Trump Tower, yeah. Great case in point, yeah.
Wow.
But he was bold, man. He didn't back down. He just kept preaching. Whoa. Pretty interesting.
Yeah. All right, good stuff. Take Proverbs 18. Somebody said I said 19, but it's 18. Today is the 18th. So there's a proverb for you each day of the month. It's interesting because I read this morning, and now it's our scripture today. Proverbs 18, verse 10. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous runs into it and are safe. Take that with you today. It's your promise, Proverbs 18:19. Stick around. We have some great guests coming up in a few moments. Drier and warmer weather coming. And have a sloppy Joe and invite Jerry to come eat it with you.
Okay.
Finding that next great series to binge watch is fun, but your neck, shoulders, and body don't count that as me time. Hi, I'm Tamara Miller, owner of Organic Element Spa, and I invite you to put down the remote, get off the couch, and schedule yourself some real me or we time with your favorite service, like one of our many massages, couples massages, or facials. Your health, safety, and comfort are always top priority with us at Organic Element Spa. We can't wait to see you. Book your appointment today.
In life, some things just go together, like a burger and fries, and home and auto insurance from State Farm. So make it a combo. Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? Just call State Farm agent Rory Wold and find out how you can start saving today. Just another way. We're here to help life go right.
Are you struggling to find loyal customers to grow your business? The people you want are watching and listening to The Dove right now. Hello, I'm Perry Atkinson. You know, The Dove offers your business a loyal and faithful audience, a safe and positive media platform to be associated with, reaching over 6 million customers daily. Find faithful customers, partner with The Dove, and watch your business flourish. Find out more. Contact Nancy Worth, Vice President of Sales and Marketing at The Dove today.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Jesus put it this way in John 5. He's talking to the Jews. John 5:39. He said, "You search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life. And these are they which testify of me. But you are not willing to come to me that you may have life. Do not think that I shall accuse you to the Father. There is one who accuses you, Moses, in whom you trust. For if you believed Moses, you would believe me, for he wrote about me." Jesus said, the law of Moses, it's all about me. Moses wrote about me. The law points to me. The purpose of the law was to bring people to Christ.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Wake up to Friends in the Morning, Perry and Jerry. Weekdays on Mornings on the Dove. Encouraging and informative, the Dove TV.
Well, welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson. The question is going to be now, with what happened in the last 24 hours in Gaza, what is the future of Gaza? Can it be rebuilt? Can it be reoccupied? Very timely for us to have back with us today Jonathan Fieldstein. He's the president of Genesis 123 Foundation, whose mission is to rebuild bridges between Jews and Christians. Jonathan is the host of the Inspiration from Zion podcast and the author of the book entitled Israel the Miracle. He's working with Christian leaders all over the world to realize true peace in Gaza, and details which can be found in the solutionspeaceingaza.com. And that is the one of the websites. There's a picture of the book. He has a couple of websites, genesis123.co, and he has solutionsforpeaceingaza.com. Jonathan, good to see you again, friend. How are you?
Harry, it's always a delight. I'm well. How are you?
Good, good. Sorry I didn't catch up with you at the NRB, but couldn't do it this year. All right. Well, listen, the last 24 hours is a big deal. What's your take?
Look, it's very sad, and people are talking about resuming the war, but the truth of the matter is it's not a resumption. It's the ongoing war. The war never stopped, and what we've known since October 7th of 2023 is that it is and unfortunately it must be an unrelenting war. It's not a war in which we have the leisure to kick the can down the road. And the last 24 hours came as a surprise to me to a certain degree. But part of the surprise is that we haven't been more forceful in the last few weeks when Hamas has not released any hostages, is toying with the idea of releasing the last living American hostages and the bodies, I believe, of 4 other Americans who are being held hostage in Israel. And somehow, I mean, I think if whoever came up with the phrase "push comes to shove," this is that push, and we have to swiftly defeat militarily. But as you alluded to in the intro, ultimately it's not just a military defeat. It goes to the core of an ideology, in their case, one that's jihadist. It's a death-worshipping cult. And that's the nature of our solution for peace in Gaza.
Okay. Do you think, Jonathan, that Israel, the leadership there, is maybe changing its mind about holding out for hostages?
I don't know that anyone's changing mind, but changing strategy. There are still, if I'm not mistaken, 59 hostages who are being held. A third to a half of whom are believed to be alive. That we know that they've been suffering tremendous psychological and physical torture, as well as deprivation of any medical service and basic food stuff. So that's a big issue. The question, I think, is ultimately tactic. If we're just going to rely on Hamas to realize that they need to negotiate, and by being good negotiating partners, we'll come up with a resolution and eventually, hopefully, bring all of the hostages out of Gaza. I think that we've proven in the last year and a half, if we didn't know it before, that that's kind of a foolish premise. So if that's the case, then there's no alternative, unfortunately, but to turn up the pressure physically.
One of the reports here was that the strike last night did not include areas that they believe the hostages to be. That's a little bit of intel that I didn't realize. They actually know where they are?
Yes, I believe that is the case, and I've interviewed on my podcast a number of times the father of one of the hostages, and he's indicated that there's significant intelligence as to where, and part of the reason, and everyone listening now, everyone following this should know, if they only take this away from the conversation, the fact that we haven't gone in and been able to rescue the hostages is because they are being held in very populated areas where necessarily any military action would create civilian casualties in Gaza. And while, of course, there have been, Israel, more than any country in the world, has been very, very careful about not putting civilians in harm's way, albeit that Hamas is using them as human shields. So yeah, we know where many of the hostages are, maybe all of them. I don't know if we know where all of the bodies are of the half to 2/3 who are dead. And it's scary to say and very sad to say, maybe we'll never see all of those bodies. But there's a lot of intelligence, and a lot more intelligence than we're even aware of.
Do you think, Jonathan, I know we can't get into the minds of a terrorist, but on the other hand, do you think Hamas is maybe beginning to realize win or lose, they're done? Whether they release the hostages or keep the hostages, they're done?
No, they're not done. And the reason why is Hamas is an ideology. They're not many of their leaders, and again, at least 5 or 6 significant leaders who remained in Gaza were killed in the overnight strikes here last night. But Hamas is also governed out of Qatar, where their leaders live in 7-story hotels. And Hamas also exists out my backyard here in Judea and Samaria. So physically, the leadership may be getting crushed in Gaza specifically, but as an ideology and all around the rest of the world, no, they're still alive and standing and waiting for the next opportunity. But the other piece is, because they're a death cult, Perry, they don't care if they die, because they believe, according to Islam, that they're going to receive a reward of going to paradise and 72 virgins as martyrs. So, I mean, if that's not misogynistic enough and a good enough reason why they need to be defeated, we know that it's an ideology, and we know that the reality is, when they die, they win, and when we die, they win. So we just have to make sure that there are more casualties on their side than on ours, and defeat them.
Well said. Do you think they're still being supplied easily through Egypt?
That's a great question, and the answer is probably not as easily. And certainly they don't have the military supplies that they had a year and a half ago. There was a rocket that was launched from Gaza about a week and a half ago. That was surprising to me. There's still combat, and I can't speak to whom, but I have friends and people who I know who are now down in the theater operating. And if I were there right now, if I were to take my computer and bring you down there with me, I have no doubt we would hear plenty of gunfire, because while many of the leaders have been eliminated and much of their bigger equipment, they have a lot of equipment that they can still. And by the way, we were talking about intelligence a moment ago. There was intelligence, and maybe that's why this attack took place when it did. That Hamas, believe it or not, was preparing for another October 7th style attack recently.
Whoa. Do you think there was any impact by the recent attack against the Houthis in Yemen in the last 48 hours?
I think that there are a lot of people in places in the world where heads are spinning a little bit. I think that also includes Iran, the Houthis. I'm so grateful that the U.S. has stepped up now, what it seems like for the first time, rather than individual targets, but on a significant tactical basis. The Houthis yet are threatening, and I know they have the weapons, and at a moment's notice they could shut down all of Israeli airspace and send, 3/4 of Israelis to the bomb shelters, as they've done multiple times over the past year and a half. So the defeat of the Houthis, the limitation of the ability from Yemen to attack Israel, for one, is certainly limiting the fuel in the tank of Hamas and the other Iranian proxies, and that's all a good thing. The proxies need to be defeated, but this is for a bigger conversation, and I think we've had it before, is that ultimately the mothership, the head of the octopus, also needs to be defeated. And if reports are correct that the U.S. has been sending spy satellites or drones close to Iranian airspace, to me that's encouraging, and even if it's only used as a threat.
Well, doesn't the attack on the Houthis send a clear signal to Iran?
It does. It's a question of how much Iran wants to continue to take responsibility. And there's no question that the U.S. has abilities. U.S. and Israel have abilities. And there's also no question that even the Saudis, who we don't have peace with, would love to see the Iranian Islamic regime defeated, because they're no less a threat to Saudi Arabia. In fact, perhaps even more of a threat. So the message to Iran is certainly that there is a punch. The carrot comes with a stick. But I personally, and you know me well enough, I'm not a warmonger. My whole kind of worldview has changed in the past year and a half, that rather than negotiating with terrorists and negotiating with evil, I just believe it has to be eliminated.
Some said that Houthis are just a bunch of pirates. Now, I understand that they've gone after a lot of ships in the shipping lane there, but they seem to be a little bit more organized and more equipped than just the average pirate.
Well, It's a great point. Pirates, from my previous years as a child dressing up for Halloween in America or studying history, pirates look for capturing stuff, gold, other valuables, and maybe taking hostages. What the Houthis are doing is they've now controlled shipping through the Red Sea, shipping through the Suez Canal, which has a tremendous devastating economic impact on Egypt, and a devastating economic impact on the rest of us, where our goods coming from Asia going to the North America or vice versa are now being marked up 15, 20, 25% because ships have to go around the entire continent of Africa. So it's more than just stealing stuff. It's more than just commandeering ships. It's with a terrorist ideology, and the terrorists are armed. I mean, it's Yemen. It's one of the most backward countries in the world. Why on earth does anyone in Yemen need intercontinental ballistic missiles, which they fire? And it's so noteworthy that they can shoot one, not 100, not 300 like Iran did twice in the past year, but they can shoot one and shut down Israeli airspace. All the airlines, Delta, United, and all the other international airlines that are just now starting to come back will turn around and fly away and shut down for months. And that has also a tremendous terrorist component to it. So I would say that they're much more than pirates. They're just another Islamic jihadist proxy of Iran.
Do you know, Jonathan, how damaged they were in this recent attack?
I don't. That's a good question. I don't know. I know that the last attack that Israel conducted a few months ago, 2, maybe 3 months ago, after some incident where they shot intercontinental missiles at us, were pretty damaging. But I am not sure yet the nature of the depth of the damage from the U.S.
Was there also a side, if I can use the term, side attack on Syria during the same time frame?
Israel has. Israel has attacked certain outlets, and I just read online that's been ongoing in southern Syria. There's a lot going on in Syria. It's not just Israel attacking. What's also interesting and ironic, it's not interesting, it's horrific that the current Islamic regime in Syria over the last week and a half has slaughtered something like 1,000 Alawites and Christians in some of the most disgusting ways, but also they are now fighting against Hezbollah, which is telling me that they're no longer only based in Lebanon, and they're not only not weakened, but they're coming across the border in Syria to exert some sort of influence. So Syria is a big mess, and I've said this for many months now, since December when the Assad regime fell, is all it's going to take is for all of the conflicting parties in Syria to continue to fight, and then eventually someone's going to say, well, let's get the idea to attack Israel because they're the common enemy, and that will at least deflect some of the domestic fighting.
So interesting. All right, let me take a quick break. Let me say to our viewers and listeners, Jonathan has a couple of websites, Genesis123.co. There's the picture of that landing page, and check out the other one, solutionsforpeaceingaza.com. You can check out that website, and we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
You might have said, as many people have said to me, Alex, it's too late. I've wasted years. I'm too far gone. Please don't believe that lie. You can call out to Christ. He will hear you. He will receive you. He has a plan for you. You might have a short time left in this world, you think. God still has a plan for you. And today, God's will for your life will become operative as you turn to Him.
Spring is around the corner and summer is on its way. With fire danger biting at its heels, flammable blackberries and underbrush will grow like gangbusters and sprout fire danger in no time. A wise property owner knows the best time to take care of fire danger is to extinguish it before it gets started. GMV Forestry, LLC can help you protect your property with adequate fire brush clearing to fireproof a zone around your precious property. With over 35 years experience, GMV Forestry LLC has the knowledge, experience, and all the equipment you need to get the job done right, offering a wide variety of services like mulching, field mowing, snow removal, driveway clearing, ditch cleaning, gravel delivery and spreading, driveway sweeping, logging, and more. GMV Forestry LLC does it all, and they do it right. GMV Forestry LLC, the team you can trust. 541-660-6445. 541-660-6445.
That was the greatest thing that ever happened, and I knew then that I wanted to be a baseball player. I'm about helping people. That's my thing, because they always say, let the works I've done speak for me. We got to do a lot of praying, because it's been divided. We need each other. Blacks, whites, we need everybody to defend this country.
Tuesday on the 700 Club, right here on the Dove TV.
Okay, welcome back. It's such an honor to have back with us Jonathan Philstein. He's the president of the Genesis 123 Foundation, whose mission is to build bridges between Jews and Christians. He's very informed, very involved. He has a couple of websites, genesis123.co, and the other one, solutionsforpeaceingaza.com. And Jonathan, again, thank you for your time. I know it's in the evening there, so thank you for giving us some of your evening time. Your book, Israel the Miracle, certainly stands out that there is clearly a biblical, spiritual oversight to all that's going on there in the Middle East. And it looks like at the end of the day, if you take Hezbollah, you take Hamas, you take Houthis, you take now what's going on in Syria, and you take Iran, and their hate not only for Israel, but for the United States. This is clearly a Judeo-Christian versus Islam battle. And I don't know, do you think Christians in the West understand this?
No, I don't think most Christians in the West do understand that, unfortunately. It's very awkward in the West to even speak about enemies and battles, and these are uncomfortable things for us. But I do think that since October 7th of 23, more Christians do understand that and are speaking in as strong terms as I am. But Jews and Christians worship the same God. He's our creator. He is the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. He is the God who established covenants that are everlasting, and that's what brings us together. Islam worships a single God, but even if it's just a name in Arabic called Allah, he's a God of hate. He's a God of vengeance, and there's no peace involved unless it's peace through the sword. So we're very divergent, and I know it's not popular in America to be called that they call Islamophobic, but the truth of the matter is, if I remember my Latin and Greek from high school, it's a legitimate word. It's a phobia. It's very legitimate, unfortunately, to be afraid of Islam in the West, because it's not the religion of peace.
All right, so can there ever be peace in Gaza if Hamas is allowed to remain?
No. No, there can't be. But it's not only Hamas. I wanted to share quickly, yesterday here in my office, which you can see in the back serves as a guest room, my 6-year-old grandson slept over last night. He was afraid to sleep downstairs in the bedroom in which he normally sleeps, because he was going to be by himself for a while. And he's only 6. He's only in first grade. But first graders are real smart, and they know what's going on. And as soon as about 4 weeks ago, when the two beautiful little Bibas boys, the redheaded boys, 9 months and 4 years old, were returned in coffins and buried, he heard about it, and he doesn't know what's going on. So by the same token, he's afraid of being alone in a room and we had that with my youngest son too, who's now 19, during a previous conflict. But by the same token, when people in Gaza are raising their children with the ideology that is that is this radical Islam where their purpose is jihad and destruction of Jews and Christians, who they refer to both of us as infidels and filthy, the only answer is, yes, of course we can defeat them militarily, but the answer is to change their ideology. And that goes to the website that you've mentioned a few times and to what I've been promoting. And I just sort of laugh at God for giving me this idea that we need, through solutionforpeaceandgaza.com, we need to have 100,000 to 200,000 Christians who go into Gaza to work and help with a true, genuine, loving rebuild, but also do so by showing unconditional love to the Gazans and giving them a relationship with the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. And I believe that only through changing that ideology, which is rooted in Hamas, but is so prevalent throughout the Gazan society, throughout Palestinian Arab society, that's the only way that we're actually going to ever see peace.
Do you think that could be accomplished through a multinational approach?
Oh, it has to be through a multinational approach. My contention is that Egypt just came out with a budget to rebuild Gaza, $53 billion. That's a lot of money. If someone smarter than I can do the math, you take 2.3 million and divide it into 53 billion, and you come up with a lot of money. That's a nice down payment on an individual mortgage, and that's per individual, not per family. So it must be a multinational approach. But I believe that after all of the destruction, and I don't mean just in the last year and a half, I'm talking about over the last decades, over the last 100 years since the rise of the Muslim Brotherhood, of which Hamas is an ideological descendant, I think that those people and countries who are going to invest in this must look for true solutions, not just to dump $53 billion into a society that's going to have radical Islam rooted in everything that they do, raising their 6-year-old sons and daughters with the ideology that they have to kill us, that's their sole purpose in life, and living life as victims. There are many biblical examples of Gentiles living alongside and among the Jewish people. My goodness, forget what President Trump said about Gaza being able to become a Riviera. By being attached to Israel, Gaza can be one of the most prosperous societies, even without the oil and gas that the United Arab Emirates and Kuwait and Bahrain and the Saudis have. They can become more prosperous just by living alongside us peacefully.
That's so beautifully said. Do you have any idea of the Palestinians that are in Gaza that are trapped by what has happened to them, or versus those who support what's happening to them?
It's hard to say. Some 80% of Gazans voted for Hamas. That's on the record. And Hamas came in and hijacked Gaza in 2005 by kicking out 2007 by kicking out the Palestinian Authority in what was a tremendously bloody revolution that took place then. It's been posited, and you hear on the media, at least here to some degree, that Gazans are cursing Hamas, that they realize that their suffering has come from Hamas. I hope that that's true. But they're also living, it's probably, if we look at the worst of the Godfather-type movies, mafia-type movies, it's a worse mafia, because it's not just that they'll go in and kill you if you disagree. They're using people in Gaza as human shields, and they can't even speak out. So what needs to happen, the people who are yelling free Palestine and free Gaza, that's true. But it's free Gaza from Hamas is what needs to happen. And the irony in this, which is why I sort of laugh at God in this instance for giving me the idea to run with and sort of mandating me on the solution for peace in Gaza, is that other than the fact that I'm an Orthodox Jew, I'm more pro-Palestinian Arab than those people on the university campuses and hijacking public squares across America and the rest of the world, because I actually want to see peace. I want to see their 6-year-old children grow up, and at 19, when my grandson is in the army in 13 years, and he will be, that they should be aspiring to be in the best technology classes ever, learning Hebrew and Arabic and English and any other language computer-wise, that they can be part of the wealth, the breadth. You know, in Ezekiel 36, God speaks, the prophecy is that the land will blossom again when the Jewish people have returned. And we think of that correctly as the trees and the physical land. But the blossoming that has come forth in the last almost 78 years since Israel was reborn with Jewish autonomy in the state of Israel, we've seen so much prosperity. And I really do pray that 2 million Gazans will grasp that and run with it, and that in a couple of years I can drive 50 miles this direction and go to the beach in Gaza and get a kosher hamburger. That's what will be my indication of actual peace.
That's beautiful. One last question before I run out of time. Sure. We talked often about Iran and the head of the snake being cut off, and there's certainly clear warnings now that this administration in the United States is heading in that direction, probably with the support of Israel or being led by Israel. It looks like something against Iran is inevitable. I'm sure that impact will be significant on Hamas, right?
The impact will be very significant on Hamas, and that's why it needs to happen. It'll be a significant impact on all of the terror proxies of Iran. I'm not sure that it's inevitable. I hope it's inevitable because it's certainly necessary. An octopus can regenerate its tentacles, but once you cut off the head of the octopus, all of the rest of the octopus will die. And that's what needs to happen. And I have a good friend who's my friend and partner with our Root and Branch program that people can get information about, where we're bringing Christians to harvest olives in Israel. She's an Iranian-born Christian who spent 9 months in prison under a death sentence in Tehran for becoming a Christian in Iran 20 years ago. And we're trying to work to restore friendship between Iran and Israel and the Jewish people and Persians, and of course Christians and Jews.
All right, check out Jonathan's website, genesis123.co or solutionsforpeaceingaza.com, and you can get a lot of information there and certainly get a copy of the book, Israel the Miracle. It is an inspiring read. Thank you, Jonathan. God bless you, my friend. Stay in the fight. We look forward to many visits.
Look forward to it as well. God bless.
You too.
Black Flag Armory offers top brand affordable rifles, shotguns, handguns, and gear. We also offer an array of classes emphasizing safety, self-defense, and accuracy. We strive to provide the absolute best possible experience when buying a firearm. Family friendly for every skill level. Black Flag Armory in Medford and Grants Pass. Online at blackflagarms.com or 541-499-0779. 541-499-0779.
Big ideas grow.
It can be puzzling assembling all the right pieces for your insurance needs in retirement. I'm Michelle Slate. Lighthouse Financial shines guiding light on retirement, investing, and insurance. Guiding you through the stormy seas of insurance, Lighthouse stands out as a beacon of hope, offering you wise counsel and biblically responsible investing. Lighthouse Financial. Call us today. 541-494-1034.
But the glorious hope of the coming of Christ is a powerful incentive to send us around the world, because when that last soul is saved, when the gospel of the kingdom is preached to every creature, then shall the end come, said the Lord Jesus Christ. Somehow he wrapped it all up with evangelism.
Relive Billy Graham classics Fridays on the Dove TV, encouraging and informative.
Well, welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson. DEI is still, remnants is certainly there, and the impact is amazing. And I am so honored to have with us today Dr. Stanley Wrigley. He's a clinical full professor of strategic management at Drexel University. He's the author of numerous books, including The Brutal Minds, The Dark World of Left-Wing Brainwashing in Our Universities. And his latest book is entitled DEI Exposed: How the Biggest Con of the Century Almost Toppled High Education. He holds a doctorate and master's in international relationship and security from Duke University. He is a Russian language linguist and a former military intelligence officer. There's a picture of the book, DEI Exposed, on the screen. I'm sure you can Google that and get it online. Dr. Wrigley, good to see you, friend. How are you?
Well, hey, it's good to be here, Perry. I do appreciate the chance to talk with you and your erudite audience about DEI, an important issue that's plaguing higher education even as we speak.
Well, this is amazing. Being a broadcaster, I've been very concerned about this. Our little organization here is part of a lawsuit to stop the FCC from implementing DEI. And as you know, the current administration has taken federal agencies and removed it. However, an executive order is only good for 4 years. We want to see DEI completely removed, or it'll take us broadcasters. We're only a lawsuit away from being wiped out.
Yeah, I understand that. I tell you, the idea that we can expunge DEI with a single stroke of a pen would be foolhardy. I think it's hopeful, but I do think we have to understand that these folks really believe in what they're doing. They may be misguided, they may be idealistic, but they simply do not understand or do not want to understand the actual ideology that is driving DEI on the college campuses and to the same extent in American business. And I think that the executive orders by the administration, 3 of them, as a matter of fact, along with a Dear Colleague letter and communications from the Department of Education, have gone a long way, far greater than I could have ever imagined or hoped for, to rectifying the situation on our college campuses, in the government administration, and of course in America's business. We want to expunge illegal discrimination from the college campuses, to promote equal protection clause of the Constitution, and to get back to a traditional notion of the universities as a place where it is ruled by logic, reason, progress, humane values, and scientific method.
What path was it on, Dr. Wrigley, before this administration?
Oh, my goodness, it was horrible. Absolutely awful. It was like a freight train out of control, rolling down the tracks with no one either willing or able to stand up and stop it. A few people have issued warning calls over the last couple of years. I think Christopher Rufo at the Manhattan Institute is one of those voices. James Lindsay has been one of those voices. But there's a lack of I would say awareness, a lack of ability, a lack of guts to stand up to the bullies on the college campuses and in American business and in the influencer business, to stand up to these people for the fraud that they've been perpetrating on the American public. Most of us, I think, you, me, and most people out there, normal people, understand that there has been something grievously wrong with DEI. You couldn't put your finger on it, but you knew there was something wrong, and it's because it's been a con game, a very well-constructed, well-conducted con game designed to swindle universities, and I'm speaking mainly about universities now, to swindle hundreds of millions of dollars out of the universities and to train young people, our students, faculty, and staff, in a noxious ideology, which is ancient in form. It's binary. It's good and evil, oppressors and oppressed, exploiters and exploited. It's, at its root, it's kind of Marxist. And the idea that if you are of a certain skin cast, if you happen to be white, you're a villain, you're an exploiter, you're an oppressor. If you happen to be a person of color, and this is only by convenience, then you're a victim. You are exploited, you are oppressed, and we must act according to this theory's dictates, not according to our own experience as we experience the American life, but no, we have to act, behave hyper-suspicious, narcissistic, delusions of grandeur, attacking other people simply by virtue of their superficial, immutable characteristics. This is at root the problem with DEI.
Is it an outcome of affirmative action?
Certainly attached to it, certainly connected to it in the sense that affirmative action began back in the 1970s. And it has grown. I think it's more of an outgrowth. If you look at Dinesh D'Souza's 1991 book, Illiberal Education, that was a book that was so prescient right now. It's gone through the multiculturalism, cultural competency, critical theory, critical race theory, critical legal studies, on up into its current manifestation, DEI, which is basically the executive arm of critical race theory.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go. So let me ask you this. Do you see universities voluntarily stepping away from this, or are they being forced to step away from it because it's connected to grants and money?
Oh, well, there's a lot of grant money that has been going to folks who are investigating systemic racism and institutional racism and that sort of thing. And along with the National Endowment for Humanities and, of course, health-related grants that are looking at the health effects of institutional racism and that sort of thing. It's been a bounty for folks. And I think that universities will not voluntarily ever step away from where the money is coming in, no matter how right and proper it might be. But I think that what we've seen in the last couple of weeks with respect to the Department of Education's diktat to universities is that you will obey American civil rights law, you will observe equal protection clause of the Constitution, or you will put your own federal dollars at risk. This really got the attention of America's universities, and I think we're having a conversation now that is long overdue.
Wonderful. I understand the University of Virginia has dissolved it?
Yes, the University of Virginia last Friday, its Board of Visitors voted to get rid of its central DEI office. What does that mean in practical terms? Well, Virginia is one of the worst offenders in the sense that their annual budget for DEI operations was $20 million, or has been $20 million, with over 200 employees engaged in propounding this kind of ideology and supposedly working for a better world, one assumes. Well, the top two people honchoing this bureaucracy receive, they haven't earned anything, they receive more than $500,000 apiece in salary and benefits. That's not the worst of it. The worst of it is the third ranking person receives over $400,000 in salary and benefits. So that's $1.5 million going to three people doing what? Well, we don't know, because these are modestly educated people who have come onto the campus with no discernible skill set except to nurture, coordinate, foster, and uplift. And my goodness, if I could receive that kind of money for nurturing, fostering, coordinating, and uplifting, I might sign on to it myself. So that's what it means in terms of, with Virginia, in terms of eliminating wasteful spending. That's a lot of tuition dollars that should go back into the pockets of parents and students.
So, Dr. Ridgely, how did academia get taken over by this? I mean, why weren't there some morally based professors pushing back?
Because there was an open window of opportunity back in the summer of 2020 and 2021, we had the combined crises of COVID, and which got people compliant in certain ways to certain diktats of the government. But more important, we had the riots of 2020 following the unfortunate death of the criminal George Floyd in the streets of Minneapolis. And for some reason, and this was part of the key fraud, that university presidents believed that their universities were somehow complicit in a system that led to the death of this criminal in the streets of Minneapolis. How Harvard or how Duke or how Berkeley or how my own university might be complicit in that is anybody's guess. But the opportunists, the grifters, the DEI grifters saw their opportunity to jump through that open window of opportunity to help construct a bureaucracy, amazingly lavishly compensated bureaucracies where functionaries are receiving hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars nationwide to convince students, faculty, and staff that America is an inherently racist, irredeemably racist country riven with white supremacy culture, and that all whites are racist, oppressors, exploiters, and that all persons of color, as it's convenient, are victims, are oppressed and exploited people, and that we must come to grips with this. Basically, that's what we mean when we talk about teaching a divisive concept. You and I know this is balderdash. You and I know that this is ideological tripe. But when you're taught this on the college campus by modestly educated folks with no discernible skill set, you tend to believe it if you're a student. And this has been the secret of DEI's perdurability on the college campus and why it's going to be difficult for us to uproot. I think it was because these people have a vested interest. They're getting lots of money. I mean, Upton Sinclair in 1934 said this. It's truer now than it ever has been. He said this: it is impossible to get someone to understand something when their salary depends upon them not understanding it.
So does it meet the definition of a cult or a religion?
It certainly does. My prior book, The Brutal Minds, talks about this explicitly because DEI training programs adopt and utilize clearly a lot of the cult techniques that we know about. Certainly cults like Synanon and the Unification Church, the People's Temple, they have certain highly developed techniques to recruit people to the cult. When it's imposed by coercion and requirements on a university campus, it can be very powerful and toxic, especially when contending views are excluded from the conversation. So yes, DEI definitely fits the notion of a cult when you've got an artificial, or I should say a fictional worldview that is imposed on people, and that they're required to view the world in this way, in contradistinction to what their experience tells them.
So as universities turn from this, is there kind of like a revelation revival with students, or are they just caught in the middle?
Basically, students are always caught in the middle with regard to the political machinations and conflicts that go on the college campus. They're trying to keep their heads down, get good grades, perhaps prepare themselves for a job after college, to become a better person, a more well-rounded person, which has been the traditional role of the university, to provide a marketplace of ideas where people can come to their own sense of what is right and proper. And we usually viewed the university as being a place where ideas can be discussed and may the best idea win. And of course, that's not the university today. It has not been that way for a long time. It's not a marketplace of ideas. It's more of a crucible of indoctrination. If you look at the high-profile people who are running the agenda, it was best expressed by a Marxist professor that was at Duke at the same time I was at Duke. His name is Frederick Jameson. He said that the purpose of college is to recruit cadres and train cadres for the struggles of the future. And of course, he meant Marxist struggles of the future, to win the Marxist struggle of the future. That's the purpose of college. And of course, it's not the purpose of college. The purpose of college is to perpetuate and to expose students to the best that has been thought and said, in the words of Matthew Arnold, and to perhaps generate new knowledge that can then be bequeathed and passed on to subsequent generations. So that's my view of what's going on right now. And I think the DEI really threatens the core values of American higher education.
That's fascinating. All right, let me take a quick break. Let me say to our viewers and listeners that you can check out Dr. Ridgely's book. It's called DEI Exposed. There's a picture of the cover of the book available online. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Burgers, salads, sandwiches, barbecue platters, sides, and more. Smoked, grilled, and served to perfection. Sweet Tea Express. Breakfast, burgers, and barbecue.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect.
Good morning to you. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove, where just about...
Now, how can you appreciate squirrels?
Don't run over them.
Wake up to Friends in the Morning. Perry and Jerry, weekdays on Mornings on the Dove.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
You really have sort of the wireframe, if you will, the template of how to pray. First of all, it's your Father who art in heaven. Yes, he's God. Yes, he's all powerful. But guess what? He's your Father. And he's your Father who loves you. Jesus said, it's your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. We don't follow a stingy God. We don't follow an angry God. God is not mad at you. God is mad about you. And he can't keep his eyes off of you. And he wants to hear from you. My Father who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. It's great to offer worship and praise to God when you pray. Thank him for what he has already done and ask for his will in your life.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Okay, welcome back. What an honor to have with us today Dr. Stanley Ridgely. He's a clinical full professor of strategic management there at Drexel University, author of several books. His first one, Brutal Minds, The Dark World of Left-Wing Brainwashing in Our Universities. And his recent book, DEI Exposed, How the Biggest Con of the Century Almost Toppled High Education. There's a picture of the book on the screen. I'm just curious, Dr. Ridgely, how have you survived as a conservative in the university world?
Well, I think survival is kind of a function of courage. I'm not going to award myself the epithet of courage, but I think it's a function of how well you express yourself, how deeply you believe in principles, and how far you're willing to go to defend certain principles. When I know that something is true, and I see something that is not true on a campus that is supposed to express and embrace the truth, and I see it embracing this fraud of DEI, and I'm referring to of course, how it's applied on the campuses. And I see young people being duped, people who are paying exorbitant tuition in many cases on the campuses nationwide. I say that there's an injustice being done here. We hear the word social justice too often on the college campuses, which is usually a fraud, I should say a proxy for something noxious that people are planning. Because young people like to say social justice, I'm working for social justice. Basically anything that they want to do, that they want to kind of lay over with some good feelings, they'll call social justice. Well, you look at what they're actually talking about, and there's no justice involved in it, just a lot of socialism. And so when I see this kind of thing going on, I don't hesitate to speak out. And I just wish more people would speak out when they see something that just does not comport with reality.
Well, let me commend you for your courage. Thank you, sir, for being there. The question I was thinking about during our break, with the rise of anti-Semitism at the university, it seems to be in sharp contrast to DEI. The irony of all ironies could be that anti-Semitism could be the end of DEI.
Well, anti-Semitism is actually an extension of DEI. If you look at the actual doctrine that DEI espouses, embraces the idea of decolonization of the curriculum, decolonization of the university. The pro-Hamas demonstrators on most college campuses going after their Jewish compatriots on the campuses are basically embracing the lingo of DEI, the idea of decolonization, and imposing that false template onto a conflict halfway across the world, and trying to say that, well, the good guys and bad guys, we're going to tell you who they are based on this template, not based on the idea that Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East, not based on the idea that it's a beacon of civilization in a sea of barbarism. No, we're going to base this on the idea that, well, Israel is the bad guy because in the template that I embrace on the college campus, they're colonizers. And as a result, we need to embrace decolonization. And as a result of that, we need to protest on behalf of a terrorist organization that purports to represent the Palestinian people. So we see that DEI certainly is not on the campuses can defend or protect Jewish students. They have said, they being diversity officers, have said, no, Jewish students do not qualify for protection under the dictates of DEI. They have stated this. They stated it very clearly, very explicitly, and I quote this in my book, DEI Exposed. It's chapter and verse quoting from the very people who are expounding this type of thing. I don't simply tell a story about DEI. I let them speak for themselves about what they're doing, how they're doing it, who the victims are, and the results that they hope to achieve. That's why it's an expose.
So there is an exception to DEI, and happens to be the Jews.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, but that fits with the DEI definition, the actual real definition of DEI, not this fantasy notion of DEI that most good people have in their own minds. The idea what's noble, right, and proper, and it's diversity and inclusion and belong. No, they don't really mean that for everyone. And they don't really worry about actual oppression, actual threats, actual intimidation based on ethnicity. They don't really believe that. They ignore it or promote it. In the case of Jewish students on college campuses, it's really terrible.
So if DEI does fit the category or the definition of a cult and a religion, what's it do with other religions such as Christianity?
Well, DEI purports to, at least on, as a salve, as a part of its patina, that it does support a variety of religious expression. That's what they say. And I think legally they are required to do so. And you'll find it on most websites that, but they're mainly concerned, DEI really is code for race. All this other stuff in terms of gender and class and religious expression, veteran status, all of this sort of stuff just kind of follows along behind in trail. They don't really mean that. And we've seen this exemplified with respect to the outbreak of anti-Semitism on campuses nationwide. So, yeah, it is a cult. It is a faith of sorts, a secular faith, and it's quite demonstrably so. In my book, Brutal Minds, I talk about how they do this, how they try to convince people to believe this alternative reality. It doesn't really comport with the world we live in. And in DEI Exposed, I focus in on how this is expressed in this particular bureaucracy on the campus that is founded on a lie.
So if the universities are slowly being expunged of it, whether voluntarily or otherwise, being forced if they lose funding, the other part of DEI that is so damaging is not only in say, federal agencies, but corporate America. Is bought into this to the point of just being stupid. You kind of wonder what's the future for them.
I tell you what, you were very blunt there, and I happen to agree with you 100%. I think the exemplar of this type of nonsense would be the tourist submarine incident last year, in which a CEO, presumably well-meaning, says he was the CEO of Ocean Gate. We're going to build a submarine that's going to go visit the Titanic. We're not going to hire, he said this, we're not going to hire 50-year-old white guys with submarine experience to design our submarine. We're going to bring in a new crew, mainly female, of fresh, new, inspiring designers. They designed a submarine. It went down and it imploded at the bottom of the Atlantic while it was looking at the Titanic. Kind of a metaphor for our time, the idea of the tourist submarine. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want to drive over a bridge built by engineers who got extra points for trying hard in their engineering class in college. And I don't want to fly with a pilot who got extra points for ethnicity or extra points for trying hard in his course of study on how to be a pilot. In life or death situations, this is absolutely, DEI is absolutely deadly, can be deadly. Duke Medical School is a university that has embraced some of the bizarre myths of DEI, including the idea that it's white supremacy culture, that professionalism is white supremacy culture. Punctuality is white supremacy culture. Frugality and thrift, well, that's white supremacy culture. It's almost as if they're taking an antithetical position to success behaviors and that they want some people to fail by claiming that these success behaviors, which are available to anyone and everyone, behaviors that Frederick Douglass himself, one of my great inspirers, had said clearly in his great speech, Self-Made Men, that we have to work hard. We have to engage in these success behaviors if we want to be successful. And so I think that this idea of DEI as somehow some sort of panacea that's going to correct all kinds of problems on the campus is exactly the opposite.
So it's being exposed. How do you see the next couple of years with this happening, especially this administration, at least at the federal level, wiping it out? When it gets down to the university level, what's your long-range forecast here?
Well, we see my forecast is, and I've said this in writing, we're going to see a retreat from DEI. When DEI first came onto the campus, it was introduced with great fanfare. Universities were beating the drum, a lot of ballyhoo. We're going to follow the straight and narrow. We're going to rectify the sins of the past, all of that. Now, universities are quietly retreating from that. There's no big announcements that, we're retreating from this DEI because obviously it discriminates against on the basis of race. It's not does not comport with the constitutional protections guaranteed in our founding documents. They're just going to retreat from that quietly. And I've seen, investigating this, I've seen the rhetoric on websites changing gradually, slowly, backing off. People are disappearing from the college camp. People with titles of DEI person, DEI grand panjandrum. That person is no longer in that position, and that position no longer exists. So we're going to see a falling away of that. But what is something we have to really focus on? These people are not going anywhere. These people really need to be dismissed. If you want my opinion on that, they need to be expunged from the academy for the abuse that they have endorsed, the abuse they've engaged in on faculty, staff, and students especially. And until we begin to address that problem, we will always have a DEI shadow darkening the university. I think that one of the things we need to look for, you found a lot of anti-Semitism at Columbia is going on right now. Several senior administrators were caught texting each other during a meeting where they were watching Jewish expressions of dismay at October 7th, and they were engaging in anti-Semitic tropes back and forth, and they were eventually fired. And so that's what I mean by personnel. And these are senior administrators supposed to represent all students. Unless and until universities begin to expunge these people and not give them training, as if that's going to do something for an anti-Semite. Well, we're going to put you through training, and that's going to fix the problem. That seems to be the universal remedy for this sort of thing. Well, we're going to give you training. That's nonsense. You need to fire these people and begin to get back to the fundamentals of a non-discriminatory marketplace of ideas where people can thrive and pursue their intellectual dreams.
Well, I see.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our